Chapter 101. The Konoha shinobi people also knew that they were only here to cause trouble for Orochimaru, so they left after finishing speaking. Although they can't help much here, there are still many companions in other places who need support. Orochimaru. Chiyo's figure appeared from the other side, and she looked coldly at Orochimaru, who stepped in. Chiyo. At this time, Orochimaru also looked at Chiyo, who appeared in front of him. It seems that you Sunagakure have no wind shadow, and you are in charge of the village. Chiyo fell silent, but she wanted to see what Orochimaru was trying to say. Isn't it possible that you Sunagakure have no wind shadow, and you are allowed to come here? Orochimaru looked at Chiyo with a hoarse voice and a slightly evil smile on the corner of his mouth. Orochimaru is mocking Chiyo for not being able to manage the village and letting her mess around. However, Orochimaru also has a point. After all, Sunagakure's supplies to support the war were gone, and Chiyo dared to fight Konoha so directly. I have to say, Chiyo made this choice. It is indeed a bit crazy. Humph. Hearing Orochimaru's sarcastic words, Chiyo snorted coldly. All of this is not due to you, Konoha. The people of Konoha village will only do these shady and insidious tricks in secret. Speaking of this, Chiyo couldn't help gnashing his teeth. If it weren't for Namikaze Minato and Kyosuke's burning of Sunagakure's supplies, Chiyo would not lead Sand Shinobi to take such a huge risk and go to war with Konoha directly. Chiyo, you are so naive. On the battlefield, for us, it doesn't matter what insidious tactics we use, as long as we can win the war. Besides, don't take what you Sunagakure said so righteously. You Sunagakure 443 are no better than our Konoha village. Orochimaru responded hoarsely. Stop talking. Orochimaru, take the call. Chiyo didn't want to continue ripping off Orochimaru, so she made a seal with both hands. Boom, boom. 99 two white smoke appeared in front of Chiyo, and then, from the smoke, two puppets appeared. The two puppets, one is a woman with long brown hair, and the other is a man with short red hair. The two puppets are Sasori's father and mother. The two male and female puppets were made in the image of Sasori's father and mother because he missed his father and mother so much before he defected to Sunagakure. Later, after Sasori defected to Sunagakure, the puppets of these two parents fell into Chiyo's hands. These two parental puppets were originally just ordinary puppets. However, under the modification of Chiyo's mother-in-law, weapons such as samurai swords, chain blades, and steel wires were added. Therefore, they have very good performance and great lethality. Seeing the two puppets appearing in front of him, Orochi also became cautious. According to Orochimaru's knowledge, Chiyo's mother-in-law is an almighty female ninja, with powerful taijutsu, medical ninjutsu, and sealing. Not only that, she is also a very powerful puppet master. This is a tough opponent, and Orochimaru is ready for a tough fight. I saw that the two father and mother puppets in front of Chiyo slowly raised a right hand and a left hand, and then the palms of the two puppets came together. The palms of the two puppets joined together, and then, when the palms of the puppets were separated, 5 wires had been pulled open on their palms. The steel wire flashes from time to time under the sunlight. It can be seen that the CHFB sharpness of these 5 wires. If it is bound by these wires, it will definitely be cut into countless pieces. At this time, the 10 fingers of Chiyo's hands were each connected with a blue chakra thread to the two puppets of the father and mother. Chiyo swayed his fingers, controlling the two puppets, father and mother, and quickly rushed towards Orochimaru. Exercisation 1 body. 35 The two puppets, the father and the mother, approached Orochimaru one by one, trying to wrap Orochimaru with the steel wire attached to their palms. Seeing this, how could Orochimaru let the puppets come here so easily? A body flicker technique, Orochimaru quickly left the encirclement of the two puppets. However, Orochimaru seemed to underestimate the cooperation of the two puppets. Just after Orochimaru used the body flicker technique to dodge the attack of the two puppets, the two puppets of the father and mother suddenly surrounded Orochimaru in a strange way under the rapid control of Chiyo. Facing this scene, Orochimaru couldn't help frowning. He didn't expect these two puppets to be so difficult. In fact, if the opponent is a puppet master, if you want to defeat the opponent quickly, the easiest way is to directly destroy the opponent's puppet with physical techniques. You must know that the opponent that the puppet master is most afraid of encountering is the ninja with powerful physical skills. However, Orochimaru's greatest strength is in ninjutsu, and taijutsu is not his forte. If Tsunade is against Chiyo at this time, it must be Chiyo who has a headache. Summoning technique, Orochimaru's voice fell, and a large snake appeared in front of him out of thin air. After the serpent appeared, Under the command of Orochimaru, it opened its bloody mouth, directly wanting to swallow the two puppets of the father and mother. However, under the control of Chiyo's hands, the two puppets quickly dodged away. Not only that, the two puppets, the father and the mother, were pulling the wire, approaching the serpent on the left and the right, entangling its body with the wire. After the snake's body was entangled by the steel wire, it struggled to get up and spit out a snake letter and let out a painful roar. However, the more the serpent struggled, the more the steel wire sank deeper into the serpent's flesh and blood. In the end, as Chiyo manipulated the puppet and exerted force on the steel wire, the serpent was directly cut into countless pieces. Seeing that the big snake that came out of his summoning was eliminated by the puppet so quickly, Orochimaru's face became serious. These two puppets are quite powerful. After killing Orochimaru, under the control of Chiyo, the two puppets, father and mother, continued to kill Orochimaru at a high speed. Wind-style great breakthrough. A violent storm emanated from Orochimaru's mouth with astonishing power, as if it could blow everything down. The two puppets, the father and the mother, who had quickly bullied him, couldn't bear the strong wind and were blown back to Chiyo's side. Orochimaru knew that if he used ninjutsu against the puppet, he was not a big threat to the puppet. The best way is to directly destroy it physically. After repelling the two puppets, a small snake appeared beside Orochimaru at some point. The little snake opened his mouth and then slowly spit out a sword. Grass pheasant sword. The sword is made of the hardest substance in the world and is extremely sharp. In the original book, the sharpness of this sword makes even the ape demon with the body of King Kong feel pain when it touches it. Orochimaru held the hilt in his hand and slowly pulled the pheasant's sword out of the snake's mouth. Next, Orochimaru, holding the pheasant's sword in his hand, headed towards Chiyo without hesitation. Since the puppets are so difficult to deal with, Orochimaru wants to see if they can withstand the power of the grass pheasant's sword in his hand. Chiyo didn't care after the puppet was beaten back by Orochimaru wind-style. When she saw Orochimaru attacking with a sharp sword in his hand, Chiyo unhurriedly continued to control the chakra wire in his hand and manipulated the two puppets. Under the control of Chiyo, the two puppets, father and mother, directly met Orochimaru, who was rushing forward. The male puppet named Father stretched out a long chain knife and rolled it towards Orochimaru. In the hand of the female puppet named Mother, a samurai sword appeared and slashed towards Orochimaru. Facing the attack of the two puppets, Orochimaru was not afraid at all. Instead, a sneer of disdain appeared on the corner of his mouth. Soon, the long chain knife in the male puppet's hand attacked Orochimaru and tried to entangle Orochimaru. Orochimaru directly lifted the grass pheasant sword in his hand and slashed it with one sword. In front of the grass pheasant sword, the chain knife was like a piece of paper and was easily cut into several pieces by the grass pheasant sword. Seeing this scene, Chiyo, who controlled the puppet, frowned. She hadn't thought that the sword in Orochimaru's hand could be so sharp. When Orochimaru slashed the chain sword, the female puppet named Mother also slashed at Orochimaru with the samurai sword in her hand. Orochimaru didn't panic at all, grabbed the grass pheasant sword and slashed it with his backhand. Clang! After the crisp sound of weapons colliding, the samurai sword in the female puppet's hand, in front of the grass pheasant sword, seemed vulnerable and was directly cut off by Orochimaru. At this time, Orochimaru, who had the upper hand, did not stop at all and once again slashed the female puppet named Mother with the grass pheasant sword in his hand. In the distance, Chiyo frowned even more after the samurai sword in the puppet's hand was cut off by Orochimaru. At this time, she saw Orochimaru wielding the mysterious sword in his hand, which was as sharp as iron and mud, and slashed at the puppet to destroy it. Seeing this, Chiyo was a little anxious. After her transformation, these two puppets are even more precious than ordinary puppets. Moreover, these two puppets named Father and Mother still have a special meaning. Therefore, these two puppets cannot be destroyed by Orochimaru. Chiyo hurriedly swung the chakra wire that mobilized the head of her fingers and manipulated the puppet to avoid Orochimaru's attack. Although Chiyo was very fast, it was still a step behind. The grass pheasant sword, which was as sharp as mud, slashed smoothly into the female puppet's hand and immediately cut off its arm. After destroying the puppet, Orochimaru stopped and did not continue to attack. At Chiyo, the two puppets of the father and mother were quickly taken back. Seeing that the arm of the female puppet named Mother was cut off by Orochimaru, a distressed look appeared on Chiyo's face. Although this is a puppet, even if Chiyo is broken, it can be repaired again. However, This puppet was made by her grandson, Sasori, after Chiyo's daughter. Chiyo cherishes this puppet with special meaning. Boom, boom. Chiyo did not intend to continue using these two puppets, so he summoned them back. And the two puppets also turned into white smoke and disappeared. Your two puppets are really powerful. Seeing Chiyo take back the puppet, Orochimaru chuckled hoarsely with the pheasant's sword in his hand. Chapter 102. When Chiyo Kwan didn't hear Orochimaru's words, her eyes instead fell on the seemingly inconspicuous, but extremely sharp grass pheasant sword in Orochimaru's hand. Your sword is very unusual. Chiyo has never seen a sword that cuts iron like mud. However, she could sense a very strong threat from the grass pheasant sword. The grass pheasant sword in Orochimaru's hand is definitely the most powerful sword she has ever seen. Grass pheasant sword, also known as Tiansong Cloud Sword and Kusanagi Sword. It is a divine sword that emerged from the body of the terrifying monster Yaki Orochi, and even the Tin Fist Sword, the Sword of the Gods, is no match for it. Hearing Chiyo's mother-in-law say this, Orochimaru just smiled without explaining too much. Not only did he think the origin of the pheasant sword was mysterious, but Orochimaru didn't know too much about it either. Moreover, there is no need for him to explain to Chiyo's mother-in-law. Chiyo, fight with our Konoha. Usanagakure will lose without a doubt. 35 After that, Orochimaru killed Chiyo. Humph. Arrogance. Whoever loses and who wins is not necessarily. Chiyo's face was not afraid at all, facing the Orochimaru who came forward and directly met him. At this time, the battle between Konoha and Sunagakure, thanks to the support of the Konoha vanguard led by Orochimaru, was extremely anxious. Kill. Kill. On the battlefield, Konoha shinobi and Sand shinobi fought and slaughtered together. A Sand shinobi and a Konoha shinobi fought to the death and finally killed the Konoha shinobi. Before the Sand shinobi could breathe a sigh of relief, the next moment, Sand shinobi's head was slaughtered and chopped off by the Konoha shinobi. Such bloody scenes are extremely common on this battlefield and can be seen from time to time. Konoha shinobi and Sand shinobi, it's either you die or I live. As early as when Kyosuke and Namikaze Minato came to support, Luosha in the distance had noticed them. Now, Konoha and Sand shinobi are fighting to the death, and before Namikaze Minato and Kyosuke can make a move, Luosha, who has been watching them for a long time from a distance, immediately kills them. Namikaze Minato, Black Fangs. Luosha, who came over, looked at Kyosuke and Namikaze Minato. With hatred in his eyes, he gritted his teeth and said, "The last time you escaped, you were lucky. Now I want to see where you ran." Seeing Luosha rushing over by himself, Kyosuke was speechless. Luosha looks like he has a deep hatred with Kyosuke and Namikaze Minato. "Kyosuke-kun, leave Luosha to me, and you go to support the other companions," Namikaze Minato said calmly to Kyosuke when he saw Luosha kill him. According to Orochimaru's previous plan, Namikaze Minato will contain Luosha, and Kyosuke will also be able to play his best role on the battlefield. 35 Kyosuke nodded. Then Minato-sensei, be careful yourself. This Luosha seems to be stimulated, like a madman. It may be even more crazy and dangerous. Kyosuke kindly reminded Namikaze Minato. Just like Namikaze Minato, a Kaga-level powerhouse, Luosha was unexpectedly called a lunatic by Kyosuke. This, Namikaze Minato, but Kyosuke was right. Luosha, who had killed him at this time, had hatred in his eyes, and his expression was a little excited and crazy. This was completely different from the Luosha that Kyosuke and the others had met for the first time. Hearing Kyosuke's reminder, Namikaze Minato nodded. He had to be careful. Luosha's appearance is indeed very different from before. After Kyosuke finished speaking, he stopped paying attention and killed Luosha like a lunatic, turned around and left. Now, Kyosuke, he has other important things waiting for him to do. After the surprise attack on Sunagakure's logistical transport troops, Kyosuke's mission points reached 960, and he was just short of 60 mission points before the lottery was drawn. Kyosuke was a pity for a while. Well now, in the battle with Sunagakure, Kyosuke can not only collect 1,000 quest points, but also hunt Sand Shinobi to his heart's content, and then earn a lot of quest points. As soon as he thought of this, Kyosuke was eager to try. Seeing Kyosuke turning around to leave, how could Luosha, who came to kill him, just let Kyosuke go away? Uchiha Kyosuke, don't want to run. Luosha roared directly at Kyosuke's figure. In terms of hatred value, between Namikaze Minato and Kyosuke, the one Luosha would most like to kill, and then kill quickly is definitely Kyosuke. Kyosuke, whom Luo Sha hated the most, wanted to leave, but Luo Sha saw it and acted directly. Magnet-style gold dust spear. The spear that condensed the gold dust into a drill head stabbed at Kyosuke at high speed. Noticing Luo Sha attacking him like a madman, Kyosuke didn't stop at all, turned around and continued walking. Since Namake's Minato said that Luo Sha was handed over to him, he would definitely be able to stop Luo Sha, a lunatic. Therefore, Kyosuke was not worried at all about Luo Sha's attack. Sure enough, when the gold dust spear stabbed Kyosuke at a rapid speed, Namake's Minato made his move. Rasengan. Namake's Minato's speed was very fast, and his figure flashed. Facing the thrusting spear, he directly smashed the chakra ball that was constantly rotating and compressing at a high speed on the spear. Boom! After a loud bang, the gold dust spear was directly broken by the Rasengan of Namake's Minato. The spear formed by the condensed gold dust directly turned into gold dust and fell to the ground. Hateful! Namake's Minato. Seeing that his attack was blocked by Namake's Minato, Luo Sha became even more angry and irritable. The last time Luo Sha chased and killed Kyosuke, it was because of Namake's Minato's entanglement that Kyosuke had a chance to escape. Unexpectedly, when Luo Sha shot to kill Kyosuke this time, Namake's Minato blocked him again. Sorry, your opponent is me. Facing Luo Sha in front of him, Namake's Minato said slowly, It's you again. Namake's Minato, it's you again. Namake's Minato kept stopping Luo Sha from killing Kyosuke again and again, making Luo Sha angry. The clay figurine is still 3-point rustic, not to mention Luo Sha, who has long been irritable. Okay, since you like meddling so much, then I'll get you out first, and then I'll kill Uchiha Kyosuke. Looking at Namake's Minato standing in front of him, Luo Sha's eyes widened in anger, as if he hated Namake's Minato to the core. Soon, Luo Sha began to kill Namake's Minato. Go to hell, Namake's Minato. On the battlefield, Kyosuke there. With Namake's Minato restraining the lunatic Luo Sha, Kyosuke began to prepare to let go of his hands and feet. This time Konoha and Sand Shinobi fought, not the usual petty fights. Now, looking at the entire battlefield, Kyosuke's eyes are full of Sand Shinobi and Konoha Shinobi fighting desperately. The sound of the sword slashing and the air rubbing against the air came from behind Kyosuke. Kyosuke didn't even think about it. He just picked up the kunai and quickly turned around and stabbed it. The warm blood flowed down to Kyosuke's hand, and Kyosuke's blow directly pierced the throat of Sand Shinobi, who wanted to attack Kyosuke. At this point, the Sand Shinobi was squirming painfully and hard in his throat. His eyes widened with fear of death. 4 flowers. Stab. Then Kyosuke slashed Sand Shinobi's throat and ended him. Ding. System prompt. Congratulations to the host for hunting down a Chunin and getting 30 mission points. 30 mission points. So easy to get. Damn. How dare you kill my companion? Go to hell, Konoha Shinobi. Seeing that his companion was brutally killed by Kyosuke, the other Sand Shinobi on the side was stunned. Hatred washed through his entire brain, and he rushed up to avenge his companion without thinking. The ninja sword in Sand Shinobi's hand slashed towards Kyosuke. Kyosuke's speed was very fast, and a body flicker technique directly dodged. Immediately after that, Kyosuke responded quickly. Mystery, rock break. 35 Kyosuke hit Sand Shinobi in the chest with a punch, sending Sand Shinobi flying far away. 1 punch, Sand Shinobi kills. Ding. System prompt. Congratulations to the host for hunting down a Chunin and getting 30 mission points. Ding. System prompt. Congratulations on reaching 1,000 host mission points. Do you want to start the lottery? After Kyosuke heard the system prompt, he was overjoyed. It's finally time to draw again. Lottery. In his mind, Kyosuke spoke directly to the system. Ding. The system has received it. The lottery starts. The lottery is in progress. The lottery is over. Ding. Congratulations to host for getting the ultimate potion of perfect quality. Perfect quality ultimate potion. Immediately after injection, 40% of his lost health will be restored. After that, 14% of his own maximum health will be restored every second, and he will gain 50% of the acceleration effect and 14% of his own health and attack power for 20 seconds. The ultimate potion of perfect quality? When Kyosuke heard that it was this thing, he was stunned. Aren't the only ones that can be obtained by lottery in the yyds system of Taijutsu? How can I get an item? Before Kyosuke won the lottery, without exception, they were all physical arts, and he also thought that only physical arts could be drawn. After all, Physique is yyds. But why didn't he think that this time he had actually drawn an item for the first time in the world? It seems that the system is still quite mysterious. While Kyosuke was curious about the system again, he couldn't help but look forward to what rewards he would get in the next draw. Then, Kyosuke began to look at the so-called perfect quality limit potion in his hand. The medicine is light blue, and it is very simple to use. Just inject it directly into the body. Therefore, at first glance, this potion does not seem to be unusual. However, when Kyosuke looked at the system's introduction to the perfect quality limit potion, he was stunned. Immediately after the injection, restore 40% of the max HP that has been lost. This? Tough. Doesn't this mean that when you are about to die, you can directly continue your life and resurrect after you send a perfect quality limit potion? Also, that restores 14% of his maximum HP every second, gain 50% acceleration effect, and 14% own health attack damage. These effects last for 20 seconds. Hiss. Kyosuke was completely stunned. Perfect quality limit potion. This effect is too pervert. Kyosuke felt that this perfect quality limit potion was no less than any taijutsu drawn. Even, this perfect quality limit potion is much more precious than those physical arts. Kyosuke hopes that in the future, if the lottery is drawn, there will be a few more rounds, no, a few dozen of this perfect quality limit potion. Knowing the importance of this perfect quality limit potion, Kyosuke took out a sealed scroll and put the potion into the sealed scroll. Chapter 103. Then, Kyosuke carefully put away the seal scroll. The perfect quality limit potion will be an important trump card for Kyosuke, and Kyosuke will have the opportunity to use it in the future. After the lottery was drawn and the seal scroll was collected, Kyosuke turned his attention to the entire battlefield. Looking at the multitude of sand shinobi, Kyosuke's eyes were full of fire. Those are all mission points that he can harvest. This time, Kyosuke must hunt enough. Thinking of this, Kyosuke stopped delaying and killed sand shinobi. Profound truth, Liashian Shattering Fist. Armed, Tempest Kick. Armed, Wolf Fong Feng Fengquan. Armed, Liashian Shattering Fist. 9 in Kyosuke's hands, Sand Shinobi's life is constantly being harvested. Ding. System prompt. Congratulations to the host for hunting down a genin and getting 10 mission points. Ding. System prompt. Congratulations to the host for hunting down a chunin and getting 30 quest points. Ding. System prompt. Congratulations to the host for hunting down a genin and getting 100 quest points. In Kyosuke's mind, the system's clear prompt sound continued to sound. However, Kyosuke didn't pay too much attention at all. Instead, he became more and more excited when he heard the clear prompting sound of the system. All he has to do now is hunt, hunt, hunt. Constant hunting. For 4-3, only by constantly hunting and harvesting sand shinobi can you get a steady stream of quest points. Kyosuke wants to get rich in this battle between Konoha and Sunagakure. Of course, if Kyosuke saw that there were Konoha shinobi and sand shinobi fighting to the death and fell behind and were about to be killed, he would go to support the Konoha shinobi first and kill sand shinobi. After all, no matter what, they are all in the same village, and they are still companions, and they can save them if they can. Kyosuke did this, killing sand shinobi to get quest points. Save the companion. Also receive gratitude from the Konoha shinobi who were rescued, and won a good reputation. 4 birds with 1 stone. Why not do it? On the battlefield, Sand Shinobi watched as his companions died one after another at Kyosuke's hands. All of them clenched their teeth and chewed their blood. It's Black Fang. Uchiha Kyosuke. Damn. Black Fangs. What? Before the Sand Shinobi could say anything harsh, Kyosuke, who had already been bullied quickly, took his life. The Sand Shinobi looked at Kyosuke who was hunting, all with a hint of fear in their eyes. Black Fang, Uchiha Kyosuke. He is an executioner. It's a Shinigami who will only go crazy for their Sand Shinobi's life. Because of Kyosuke's mad and cruel hunting, Sand Shinobi around Jing saw Kyosuke's figure and subconsciously had fear. And the Konoha Shinobi around Kyosuke saw the Black Fangs, Uchiha Kyosuke, their Konoha hero, who fought so hard to kill the enemy, all excited. Immediately, Konoha Shinobi around Kyosuke, driven and stimulated by Kyosuke, savagely killed Sand Shinobi without fear of life and death. And Sand Shinobi, in the face of Kyosuke's ruthless hunting and Konoha Shinobi's crazy counterattack, was beaten and retreated, and even many Sand Shinobi were reluctant to retreat, unwilling to fight. Therefore, on the battlefield, the movements of Kyosuke's place quickly affected the surrounding battle situation, and, gradually formed a butterfly effect. More Konoha Shinobi players not only successfully resisted Sand Shinobi's attack, but also began to fight back hard. The situation on the battlefield gradually began to favor Konoha. At Sunagakure, there were vague signs of being defeated by Konoha. The situation on the battlefield is by far the most important. If the situation turns to one side, the other side is bound to lose ground and lose completely. Both of them, Chiyo's mother-in-law as the head coach and Orochimaru, knew this. How so? Seeing this scene, Chiyo's mother-in-law couldn't believe what she saw in front of her. Chiyo's mother-in-law who fought with Orochimaru, although her main focus is on fighting with Orochimaru. However, as a coach, she also has to pay attention to the situation on the battlefield. At this time, the mother-in-law Chiyo had noticed the situation on the battlefield. From the initial bias to Sunagakure, the Konoha side was retreating. Up to now, the situation has slowly shifted towards Konoha. Even Sand Shinobi has already begun to be suppressed by Konoha, and there are faint signs of retreat. This is not a good thing for them. Sunagakure. Unable to continue with Orochimaru, Sunagakure had to break the situation on the battlefield. Otherwise, if the stalemate continues like this, the battle with Konoha, Sunagakure will lose sooner or later. In her heart, Granny Chiyo thought to herself anxiously. And the reason why Konoha will slowly suppress Sunagakure, the reason why there is such a big change, the source of all this, Grandma Chiyo has been paying attention to the situation on the battlefield, but it is not difficult to find that the change in the situation of the battle is entirely due to Black Fang, Uchiha Kyosuke there. Black Fangs again. Uchiha Kyosuke. Seeing that figure flashing on the battlefield, the Black Fangs, Uchiha Kyosuke, who was constantly reaping the lives of Sand Shinobi, Chiyo's mother-in-law couldn't help but burn with anger. This Black Fang, Uchiha Kyosuke, is it really the biggest disaster destined for their Sunagakure? No, Black Fangs, Uchiha Kyosuke must be removed first. Otherwise, if we continue like this, we Sunagakure will definitely lose. 39 Thinking of this, Chiyo's mother-in-law flashed cold killing intent in her eyes. Afterwards, Granny Chiyo stopped attacking Orochimaru directly, and instead rushed towards Kyosuke. Seeing Chiyo's mother-in-law suddenly stopped attacking, and then flew in one direction. What's going on? Orochimaru was a little confused by Chiyo's sudden transformation. However, when he saw Chiyo's mother-in-law pointing in that direction, Orochimaru's expression changed. In that direction, Kyosuke happened to be there. And the reason why Chiyo stopped attacking and headed there was obviously no, Chiyo is trying to kill Uchiha Kyosuke first. Kyosuke, he is in danger. After realizing Chiyo's intentions, Orochimaru didn't dare to delay any longer and rushed directly to Kyosuke. The butterfly effect on Kyosuke's battlefield quietly led Konoha to slowly reverse the situation on the battlefield, making the situation in Konoha's favor. These, not only Chiyo mother-in-law noticed, Orochimaru also noticed. Therefore, in the battle between Konoha and Sunagakure, Kyosuke is very important, and Orochimaru cannot tolerate Kyosuke's mistakes. What's more, Kyosuke is a vital figure in the Uchiha clan of the Orochimaru alliance. In addition, the bond between Orochimaru and Kyosuke's master-disciple relationship. Therefore, Orochimaru did not allow Kyosuke any accident. However, even though Orochimaru chased after him quickly, his speed was a little slower than that of Chiyo's mother-in-law, who was good at Taijutsu. No, you have to catch up with Chiyo, otherwise it will be troublesome. Orochimaru looked at Granny Chiyo in front of him and thought to himself, there is no other way. I can only use that trick. In desperation, Orochimaru decided to summon that guy. In fact, if it wasn't for an emergency, Orochimaru wouldn't want to summon it. Although it is Orochimaru's summoning beast, it is rebellious, does not like to be controlled, and has difficulty obeying Orochimaru's arrangements. But now, Orochimaru has to rely on its power. Orochimaru bit his own fingers, made marks on his hands, and slammed down to the ground. Immediately, the dense summoning runes spread out with Orochimaru as the center. Ninja. Summoning technique. Boom. As Orochimaru's voice fell, a large amount of smoke emerged instantly. After the smoke cleared, a huge snake appeared. This giant snake, its huge size, is more than several times bigger than the giant snake summoned by Orochimaru before. Huge body, purple stripes, and horns on the head of the triangular snake. 10,000 snakes. The summoning beast of Orochimaru is also the leader of the summoning snake clan. Orochimaru, didn't I say, I don't have anything to disturb my uncle? As soon as one snake appeared, he spoke to Orochimaru in a very arrogant tone. Orochimaru standing on the head of 10,000 snakes. It was Wan Snake's unruly temper that made Orochimaru reluctant to summon it. The arrogant appearance of Wan Snake is the arrogance of your uncle, and it is impossible to see that it is the summoning beast of Orochimaru. On the contrary, in front of Orochimaru, it is like the master of the 10,000 snakes. Sorry, I'm calling you out this time. It's really urgent. Orochimaru had no choice but to say. Orochimaru, you should know that if you want to let this uncle take action, you have to pay a corresponding price. Wan Shi's tone was still as arrogant as ever. Orochimaru. The price 10,000 snakes said. Orochimaru knew exactly what it was. After all, it is not the first time he has made a deal with Wan Shi. After a moment of silence, Orochimaru finally had to compromise. We'll talk about this later, and now hurry up and stop the person in front, otherwise, don't talk about it. 35 The words of Orochimaru made Wan Snake feel a little dissatisfied, and the dark green snake eyes looked cold and ruthless, and it snorted heavily. 5.1 Orochimaru, the consequences of not fulfilling the promise. You know it. After Wan Snake finished speaking, he stopped talking nonsense, dragged its huge snake body, and quickly rushed to the mother-in-law Chiyo in front. Although the snake is huge, its movements are quite agile. Not only that, Wan Snake's attack power is also extremely strong. In the original work, Wan Shi faced Katsuyu and Wan Tai, 1 against 2, without fear at all. Compared to Tsunade's summoning beast Katsuyu and Orochimaru's summoning beast Toad Bunta, the strength of 10,000 snakes is undoubtedly the strongest. Soon, within a few breaths, Wan Snake caught up with the mother-in-law Chiyo who was in front of her. Immediately afterwards, Wan Shi opened its bloody mouth and bit down directly. That battle was clearly intended to swallow the mother-in-law Chiyo in one bite. The movement that Orochimaru summoned out of the 10,000 snakes was too great. After all, the incomparably huge size of Wan Snake is difficult for people to notice. Therefore, the mother-in-law Chiyo immediately noticed the 10,000 snakes summoned by Orochimaru from the rear. Granny Chiyo also knew that the giant snake summoned by Orochimaru was Orochimaru's real summoning beast, the 10,000 snakes. Compared with the current 10,000 snakes, the big snake before is not at the same level in terms of size, speed, strength, etc. Chapter 104. The bloody mouth of the 10,000 snakes approached the mother-in-law of 1,000 generations. And Chiyo's mother-in-law, who wanted to kill Kyosuke, could only give up temporarily. She hid to the side extremely quickly. Boom. Wan Snake's attack was very tyrannical. Although he didn't swallow Granny Chiyo alive, he still slammed into the ground. In an instant, the ground was shaken by the 10,000 snakes. At this time, on the battlefield, both Sand Shinobi and Konoha Shinobi were attracted by the movement of the 10,000 serpents. Konoha Shinobi saw the huge snake and Orochimaru standing on top of the snake, and his eyes were full of excitement. Look, it's Orochimaru-sama's summoning beast. So big. 35 Awesome. As expected. Orochimaru-sama. 35 Seeing Orochimaru standing on the head of the summoning beast 10,000 serpents, Konoha Shinobi's eyes were full of pride. This is one of their Konoha Sannin, Cold Kuin Orochimaru. And when Sand Shinobi saw the huge size of the snake, they were suppressed by Konoha, and their military heart was broken. At this time, seeing this scene, their hearts retreat. Even more. So how do you fight the huge summoning beast? Even if they are lightly swept away by a snake's tail, they will be doomed. The movement on the side of the snake was too loud, and naturally it caught Kyosuke's attention. Kyosuke's eyes lit up when he saw Wan Snake's 27 incomparably huge body, purple stripes, and dragon-like horns on its head. Is that Orochimaru's summoning beast, 10,000 snakes? Although the 10,000 snakes are the most rebellious among the summoning beasts, they are also the representative of the evil summoning beasts. But I have to say that among the many summoning beasts, Wan Snake is the coolest one, and it is also a super powerful summoning beast. A summoning beast? Or should I get one to play with? Seeing Orochimaru standing on the head of the snake, Kyosuke also became interested in summoning beast. At this time, Kyosuke didn't know at all that the reason why Orochimaru summoned the 10,000 snakes and made such a big noise was entirely because of him. Granny Chiyo looked at the huge, summoning beast in front of her eyes, the 10,000 snakes. Her expression was very solemn. She knew very well that this summoning beast of Orochimaru was extremely powerful. In terms of attack speed, strength, and defense, Wan Snake is very powerful. If you use ordinary ninjutsu and puppets to deal with it, it is just like scratching a tickling for the snake, and it is completely ineffective. It's troublesome now. In modern times, Granny Chiyo had to temporarily give up her plan to kill Kyosuke first. She had to deal with this difficult opponent in front of her first. Otherwise, Chiyo would have no chance to deal with Kyosuke. As for sending the rest of Sunagakure to deal with Kyosuke, Chiyo's mother-in-law, who was closely watching the situation on the battlefield, felt that this was unrealistic. Luo Sha, whose strength is close to Kaga-level strength, is now entangled with Namikaze Minato and is in a hard fight. Sunagakure's one-tailed Jinchuriki, Funfu, and Yitsong were also held back by Konoha shinobi on the battlefield and couldn't walk away. On Konoha's side, the powerful but unstoppable are not only the Black Fang's Uchiha Kyosuke, but also one of Konoha's Sannin, Senju Tsunade. That's right, Konoha and Tsunade, who is a Kaga-level powerhouse, haven't come forward yet, which makes Chiyo's mother-in-law very worried. Because she knows that, without the support of other Konoha shinobi, she and Orochimaru can restrain each other. But what if Tsunade's support were added in? It's a 2-on-1 situation. Even Orochimaru, one of the Sannin, and Chiyo's mother-in-law are quite difficult to deal with. If Tsunade joins in again, when the time comes when the two powerful forces of Konoha Sannin join forces to attack, Granny Chiyo will not be able to handle it. This is not good. Chiyo's mother-in-law began to worry in her heart. Although now, due to unknown reasons, Tsunade's figure has not appeared for a long time. However, this made Chiyo's mother-in-law even more suspicious. Since the incident of Konoha's surprise attack on the Sunagakure Logistics Transport Unit, Chiyo has become even more afraid of Orochimaru and Tsunade. However, no matter how worried Granny Chiyo is, what she has to face now is Orochimaru in front of her. In addition, he has to face the powerful summoning beasts like myriad snakes, so Chiyo has to come up with his own unique skills. There is no other way but to use the forbidden technique. Looking at Orochimaru standing on the head of the snake, Chiyo mother-in-law had no choice but to think like this. At this moment, Granny Chiyo suddenly brought a seal scroll from her ninja bag, and then unfolded the seal scroll in front of her. In the unfolded seal scroll, 10 box-shaped figures with seal characters are arranged in sequence. At this time, Chiyo's eyes were very calm, and her hands formed a seal. Resolve. Following Chiyo's solution falling, the 10 box-shaped diagrams with the seal square symbols in front of her slowly fell off. After the seal was undone, clumps of strange purple gas came out of it. Orochimaru, who was standing on the head of the 10,000 snakes, frowned involuntarily after seeing this. Soon after, the strange purple gas that came out of the seal turned into puppets of different shapes in white robes. Among these puppets in white robes, there are female puppets, blue-faced puppets, bull-headed puppets. These 10 puppets, dressed in white robes and in different shapes, all surrounded the mother-in-law Chiyo. By secret skill, 10 people in Jin Song. If Kyosuke was here, he would be surprised to see these puppets around Granny Chiyo. Isn't these 10 white-robed puppets similar to the Grey secret technique, the 7 Minzwa, that he used when he fought against the Sunagakure's elite Jonin, Jinmen in Sand Dune Valley? However, the 10 puppets of White Secret Skill, Kinmatsu 10 People by Grandma Chiyo are very different from the 7 puppets of Grey Secret Skill, Minzwa 7 People from the previous Niriman. The 10 puppets of mother-in-law Chiyo are from the hands of first-generation puppet master Menzaemon, and the power of the puppets is beyond doubt. And the 7 puppets of Kinemon were only made by the descendants of Menzaemon, imitating the puppets of the 10 people of Kinmatsu. One is original and genuine, the other is imitation and pirated. The two are naturally incomparable. Moreover, White Secret Technique. The 10 people of Kinmatsu is a super stunt created by Chiyo, and it is extremely powerful. Once, Chiyo used this forbidden technique to control these 10 puppets to slaughter a city with one person. Although mother-in-law Chiyo also knew that on this battlefield, she would definitely use this forbidden technique again, but she did not expect to use it so quickly. Kinmatsu, 10 people? Is that Chiyo your stunt? Interesting. 35 Seeing the 10 white-robed puppets summoned by the mother-in-law Chiyo, Orochimaru, who stood on the head of the 10,000 snakes, thoughtfully. White Secret Technique, Kinsatsu 10 People, is Chiyo's mother-in-law's extremely powerful stunt. Although Orochimaru has never seen it with his own eyes, Orochimaru has heard of this extremely powerful stunt. Moreover, the grandmother Chiyo used this stunt to control these 10 puppets and slaughtered a city by herself. Orochimaru knew about this sensational event. How strong will these 10 puppets be under the control of Chiyo's mother-in-law? At this point, Orochimaru has some expectations. At this time, all 10 of Chiyo's fingers were connected to the chakra line, and they were connected to the 10 puppets. Soon, under Chiyo's control, these 10 puppets quickly killed Orochimaru. Seeing these strange puppets in white robes like ants, one snake rushed forward without knowing how to live or die, with disdain in their eyes. Dare to deal with this uncle with these little things? Wanshi didn't even think about it, and the snake flicked its tail, and the huge snake tail went directly towards the white-robed puppet. Simple, crude, and practical. The snake's tail swept very fast, and the attack was extremely overbearing. However, these white-robed puppets are faster and more flexible under the control of the mother-in-law Chiyo. Boom. 99. The snake tail quickly swept across, ignoring all obstacles, and everywhere it went, it was destroyed, turning up pieces of dust. After a while, those white-robed puppets who had escaped the attack flew out of dust and headed towards the Orochimaru on the head of Wanshin. 10,000 snakes are huge, and they are covered with snake scales, and their defensive power is even more amazing. So Grandma Chiyo will not deal with it. Chiyo knew that, given the current situation, the first thing to solve was Orochimaru. As long as Orochimaru is eliminated, the 10,000 snakes will not pose any threat at that time, and they can only obediently return to the Dragon Cave. Seeing the white-robed puppet rushing towards him, Orochimaru was not afraid at all, and clenched the grass pheasant's sword in his hand. The white-robed puppet that rushed forward first at this time. Its head turned into a high-speed rotating blade of a windmill, heading straight for Orochimaru. Orochimaru, who was standing on the head of 10,000 snakes, also greeted him with a pheasant's sword in his hand. Chong! The high-speed rotating blade of the windmill collided with the grass pheasant's sword that was slashed directly, and the crisp weapon collision sound suddenly sounded. Not only that, the two collided, and sparks were produced from time to time. Seeing this, Orochimaru was a little surprised. This puppet, can't even the grass pheasant sword help it? Chapter 105. Orochimaru knew the sharpness of the pheasant's sword. However, Orochimaru did not expect that the puppet's big windmill blade could withstand the sharpness of the grass pheasant sword without being cut off. Just when Orochimaru was a little surprised, another female puppet with long hair held a sword in both hands and attacked Orochimaru's back. Orochimaru frowned, temporarily abandoned the puppet in front of him, and retreated to the side. Then, when Orochimaru retreated to the side, the other white-robed puppets attacked directly under the control of the distant mother-in-law Chiyo. Among them was a strange-looking white-robed puppet that attacked Orochimaru. I saw this strange-looking white-robed puppet. A large number of black tubular tentacles suddenly appeared from its head and quickly extended to attack Orochimaru. Seeing a large number of black tubular tentacles rolling in, Orochimaru directly swung the pheasant's sword and cut them off. However, the large number of black tubular tentacles that swept over seemed to extend indefinitely. Although it was cut off a lot by Orochimaru, it still grows without interruption and continues to attack Orochimaru. In fact, these white-robed puppets are not particularly powerful, but they are very difficult to deal with. Moreover, under the control of the distant mother-in-law Chiyo, the white-robed puppets moved very fast. Due to the huge size of the 10,000 snakes and the fact that these white-robed puppets are around 10,000 snakes, the movements of the 10,000 snakes are restricted to a certain extent. Whenever Wanshi opened its bloody mouth and wanted to swallow all these white-robed puppets, these white-robed puppets were always under the nimble control of the distant mother-in-law Chiyo, and their movements were very agile to avoid them. Those white puppets are like ants in the eyes of one snake. But whenever the 10,000 snakes want to swallow them, they can always dodge dexterously. Moreover, from time to time, they attacked 10,000 snakes with extremely tricky angles. Although, the attacks of these white-robed puppets were completely innocuous to Wanshi and could be completely ignored. However, in such a situation, for the arrogant Wanshi, it felt extremely aggrieved. As the leader of the summoning snake clan, how can he help these ants? Not only that, but he was also played around by the ants in his eyes. It has always been unruly. Lao Tzu is the #1 snake in the world. How has it ever suffered such humiliation? So, the snake was on fire, and it said to Orochimaru irritably, "Orochimaru, it's not because of these ants that my uncle summoned him. Hurry up and think of a way for me to get rid of these abominable and intractable ants." On the other hand, Orochimaru is actually a little helpless. These white-robed puppets are made by the first-generation puppet master Menzaemon, and their quality and power are obviously much stronger than ordinary puppets. Therefore, the grass pheasant's sword in Orochimaru's hand against the white-robed puppet no longer had restraint on the puppet. In addition, these white-robed puppets are controlled by the mother-in-law Chiyo. Therefore, facing the siege of these white-robed puppets, Orochimaru is also very stressed. At this time, Orochimaru, who was dealing with these difficult white-robed puppets, was a little unhappy when he heard Wan Shi's grumpy and complaining tone. So, Orochimaru, who was already a little upset, simply ignored Wan Shi's complaints to him. However, Orochimaru somewhat underestimated the extent to which Wan Snake did things. Seeing that Orochimaru ignored him, Wan Snake was annoyed and roared directly at Orochimaru. Orochimaru, you dare to ignore Uncle Ben. If that's the case, then don't blame Uncle Ben for returning to the Dragon Cave directly. Wan Shi has always been so self-willed, doing things completely according to his own preferences. Hearing 10,000 snakes clamoring to return to the Dragon Cave, Orochimaru had no choice but to say, "Don't be impulsive, Wan Shi, I'm thinking of a way. Say, what's the solution to these annoying flies?" Although the damage caused by the white-robed puppet to Wan Snake was negligible, Wan Snake couldn't stand it. While dealing with the attack of the white-robed puppet, Orochimaru set his sights on the 10-leader Chiyo, who was dancing the chakra line and controlling the puppet. Subsequently, Orochimaru said to Myriad Snake, "These puppets are controlled by Chiyo. Wan Snake, you go up and deal with her." After Orochimaru finished speaking, Wan Shi felt that it also made sense. Since these flies are all under the control of the old guy Chiyo, then he will just settle the account with her directly. After he figured it out, Wan Shi didn't talk nonsense, moved his body extremely agilely, and quickly attacked Chiyo in the distance. The speed of Wan Snake is astonishing. If anyone else is present, they will definitely be stunned by its strange speed. Although Wan Snake has a huge snake body, its movements are still so agile. With its astonishing speed, others can only see the afterimage of Wan Snake. "Old guy, those flies are all yours. Damn, die for this, uncle." 10,000 Snake's voice fell, and its huge snake head, like a heavy hammer, with astonishing lethality unmatched, slammed directly into the mother-in-law Chiyo. Not good. Seeing the 10,000 snakes approaching aggressively, the mother-in-law Chiyo's face changed dramatically. If she is really hit by the snake, then she will definitely die. At this moment, Chiyo completely burst out of her peak strength. At this critical moment, she not only controlled the distant puppets to deal with Orochimaru, but also controlled several puppets to rush back quickly. In the end, Chiyo brought her physical skills to the ultimate level. Just when Wan Snake's heavy blow, which was filled with the breath of death, arrived, Chiyo's mother-in-law was able to dodge away. And here in Orochimaru, since the 10,000 snakes are attacking the mother-in-law Chiyo, the pressure on him here is much less. For this good opportunity, Orochimaru he will not let go. So, Orochimaru he also rushed to kill Chiyo grandmother decisively. These puppets, Orochimaru, are really very troublesome and tricky to face. It is better to solve Chiyo first. Although there was a lot of movement on the Manza side, now, Sand Shinobi and Konoha Shinobi are fighting together again. Kyosuke is the same, once again incarnate as Shinigami, hunting Sand Shinobi frantically. The situation on the battlefield has clearly favored Konoha. Actually, here in Sunagakure, not only Granny Chiyo and Luosha want to get rid of Kyosuke. At this time, on this battlefield, one of Sunagakure's people also noticed Kyosuke. That's Hakura, Sunagakure's scorch-style bloody boundary ninja. A long time ago, in the Dune Valley incident, Kyosuke beheaded Sunagakure's elite Jonin Kinemon. Chiyo issued an order to kill Kyosuke first, and Hakura began to pay attention to Uchiha Kyosuke. At that time, Hakura heard about Uchiha Kyosuke for the first time and was a little curious. Immediately afterwards, Kyosuke hunted down many of them Sand Shinobi on the border of the Country of Fire, and even came up with the name Black Fang, and Yitsong paid more attention to Kyosuke. From then on, Yitsong also secretly decided that if she encounters that Black Fang Uchiha Kyosuke, she must kill him. Then to the recent incident of burning Sunagakure supplies, and now, on this battlefield, Kyosuke has been slaughtering the lives of their comrades. This series of evil deeds by Kyosuke, at this moment, completely angered Yitsong. When Konoha and Sunagakure first started fighting, Yakura was busy dealing with the many Konoha shinobi people, and he didn't bump into Kyosuke. So, it's not a big deal. But now, seeing Uchiha Kyosuke not far from Yitsong, she is ruthlessly slaughtering many of her companions. Yitsong can't stand it anymore. A long time ago, Chiyo-sama had explained it more than once. If you encounter Uchiha Kyosuke on the battlefield, you must kill him immediately. Seeing the scene where Kyosuke slaughtered their Sunagakure comrades, Yakura finally understood why Chiyo-sama hated Black Fangs Uchiha Kyosuke so much. Uchiha Kyosuke is indeed a disaster for their Sunagakure. This Black Fong, Uchiha Kyosuke, must be killed, Yitsong thought to himself. So, Yitsong left behind a Konoha elite jonin who was still fighting with her, and rushed towards Kyosuke. The Konoha elite jonin saw that Yitsong actually run away, and immediately chased after him without thinking. Want to run away? It's not that easy. However, before the elite jonin could catch up, 3 sand shinobi suddenly appeared next to him. When the 3 sand shinobi saw that it was a Konoha shinobi, they immediately killed the Konoha elite jonin without saying a word. Seeing the 3 sand shinobi who were suddenly killed, the Konoha elite jonin had to look at Yitsong, who had gone away. Following along, the Konoha elite jonin fought desperately with the 3 sand shinobi who came over Kyosuke's side. Kyosuke's technique is very ruthless, and every shot is a killer move, rushing to sand shinobi's fatal weakness. If the opponent is Jinin or Chunin, Kyosuke is usually a one-hit kill. Never missed. Chapter 106. If the opponent is Jonin, Kyosuke needs to spend more time. At this moment, Kyosuke gasped slightly, obviously tired. But his speed was still extremely fast. His hand was holding kunai, and after a shave, he flashed in front of a sand shinobi who had been fighting with him for a while. Before the opponent was astonished, he directly slashed the opponent's throat with kunai. Immediately, blood rushed out from the opponent's throat. Ding. System prompt. Congratulations to the host for hunting down a jonin and getting 100 quest points. Call. Having finally solved the name Sand Shinobi, Kyosuke could not help but let out a breath and could relax for a while. After such a long harvest, Kyosuke was also exhausting his physical strength. No matter how hard Kyosuke hunted Sand Shinobi, it seemed like he couldn't finish it. There were still many Sand Shinobi rushing towards him. Helpless, Kyosuke can only hunt like crazy. Kyosuke's excitement at the beginning gradually calmed down, and then to the current numbness. That's right, Kyosuke is already numb to hunting Sand Shinobi. Although mission points are easy to obtain, it's like giving away for free, but Kyosuke sighed with emotion. Why does it feel like a part-time job moving bricks? But this kind of working and moving bricks, Kyosuke had a serious addiction. Just when Kyosuke ended the name Sand Shinobi Jonin, he breathed a sigh of relief and sighed with emotion. Suddenly, Kyosuke felt that something dangerous was flying towards him behind him. Kyosuke looked back and saw several fireball-like things rushing towards him in midair. What the hell is this? Is it fire style, Fengzianhuo technique? But it doesn't look like that. While Kyosuke felt a little curious, there was also fear on his face. That's right, it's dread. Because Kyosuke sensed that those fireball-shaped things carried a strong threat. Intuition tells Kyosuke that he must not touch these fireball-shaped things, otherwise it will be very dangerous. So, facing these fireball-shaped things that were full of danger, Kyosuke chose to avoid them. And what happened next confirmed Kyosuke's intuition. The fireball-like thing that was rushing towards Kyosuke was dodged by Kyosuke and continued to rush out without any hesitation. The fireball-shaped thing also happened to bump into a rather unlucky sand shinobi not far behind Kyosuke. As soon as the sand shinobi touched those fireball-shaped things, he cried out in pain. Afterwards, the sand shinobi was stuffed into a stove like grass and trees, and the water in his body was quickly evaporated by these fireball-like things, and finally turned into a mummified corpse. Kyosuke was a little surprised when he saw this terrifying scene. He couldn't help swallowing. It was directly steamed to become a mummified corpse, and the method of death was torture enough. Being thirst alive, roasted to death? Thinking of this, Kyosuke felt a little thirsty. Damn, this fireball thing is scary too. At this time, looking at the mummified corpse in front of him, Kyosuke said with lingering fears. At the same time, Kyosuke also lamented the terrifying lethality of this fireball-shaped thing. In Kyosuke's view, this fireball-shaped dangerous thing is definitely not fire-style ninjutsu. Most likely, blood follows the limit. In fact, there are 2 types of so-called blood-following boundaries. One is that when 2 kinds of chakra nature transformation are mixed and used at the same time, a new escape technique will be generated. For example, wind plus water equals ice, soil plus water equals wood. Once successful, this new escape technique will be recorded by the ninja's genes and passed on to the next generation through blood relationship. The second is that a certain organ of the ninja body is different from the ability obtained by ordinary people. This is not difficult to reason, such as the Sharingan of the Uchiha family and the white eyes of the Hyuga family. And this kind of fireball-like thing, Kyosuke felt that it belonged to one type of bloodline boundary. What kind of dangerous guy dares to P***s himself like this? While Kyosuke was afraid, he also felt a little annoyed. If he hadn't turned on the First Order gene lock at that time and could sense the danger, then he might have been recruited. Did you dodge? Huh. Good luck to you, boy. Nien, just as Kyosuke was about to look in the direction where these fireball-shaped dangerous things were flying, a voice came from that direction. There was disdain and a bit of pity in her voice. The party has arrived. However, hearing this voice, Kyosuke felt that the other party was a female ninja. On the battlefield, there are no female ninjas, but very few. Kyosuke has met female ninjas on this battlefield, but not many. Most female ninjas help out in logistical units or medical classes. After all, compared to male ninjas, female ninjas are still a little bit worse in fighting on the battlefield. Female ninjas like Tsunade, CHFB, less so. After all, powerful female ninjas like Tsunade are a scarce resource, not cabbage. Forehead. This goes a bit far. Kyosuke came back to his senses and looked in the direction of the sound just now. Then, what appeared in front of him was a tall, beautiful female ninja. Yo, this figure is not bad. Kyosuke looked at it carefully and thought to himself. This woman, San Shinobi, has a perfect figure and a delicate face. Her hair is coiled on top of her head in the shape of a ball, with a hairpin on it. The drooping yellow hair on both sides of her eyes is very conspicuous, and the whole person looks like a heroic female ninja. Although this female ninja has a good figure and appearance, Kyosuke's heart is a little hot. Just now, if Kyosuke was a little careless, he would be the one who died, not the unlucky San Shinobi who turned into a mummified corpse. Although, this is a battlefield, both sides are desperately fighting. Either you die or I live, which is understandable. However, Kyosuke has such a small mind. I would rather teach me to blame the world, and stop teaching the world to blame me. It is only right and proper for me to kill you. If you want to kill me, then you are courting death. So, Kyosuke narrowed his eyes and looked at the woman in front of him, San Shinobi, with cold eyes. That weird fireball just now came from your hands. What if it is? What if it isn't? Facing Kyosuke, the executioner known as the Black Fangs, Yakura looked directly at Kyosuke without fear, and said sternly, "Not so good." Kyosuke smiled faintly at this time. His eyes no longer had the icy look before, and his tone suddenly became more relaxed. Yes or no, it doesn't matter, because you have to die. Kyosuke finished speaking calmly, followed by his eyes condensed, and quickly disappeared in place with a force from the soles of his feet. Shave. In the original position where Kyosuke was standing, an afterimage of Kyosuke suddenly appeared. So fast. Seeing that Kyosuke suddenly disappeared, Yi Tsongshin Chunin couldn't help being surprised. Then, around her body, a fireball-shaped object suddenly appeared. These fireball-shaped objects are evenly distributed around the leaf warehouse, forming a protective circle. About Black Fang, Uchiha Kyosuke, Yakura already knew a lot. Uchiha Kyosuke's Taijutsu is very powerful. His Taijutsu is very strange, but also very powerful pervert. Moreover, his speed is also very fast. His figure is like a ghost, and when he shoots, he often goes straight to the opponent's weakness to kill. If you face Uchiha Kyosuke, you must guard against all corners, especially your weaknesses, to prevent him from suddenly attacking and killing him. But now, seeing Kyosuke's figure suddenly disappearing strangely, Yitsong was shocked and said to himself, "It is rumored that Uchiha Kyosuke has a speed like a ghost, but it seems to be true." Kyosuke's figure suddenly disappeared strangely, and although Yitsong was shocked by Kyosuke's speed, he was not flustered. On the contrary, Yitsong hoped that Kyosuke would attack as soon as possible. If Uchiha Kyosuke really attacked, then it was just right, but it hit her right in the arms. Because Yakura knew that, according to Sunegaku's information, Uchiha Kyosuke's attack methods were almost all taijutsu. Since it's a physical exercise, it's easy to do. At that time, as long as Uchiha Kyosuke approached and attacked, Yitsong had full confidence and killed Uchiha Kyosuke in an instant. She wants to keep Uchiha Kyosuke back and forth. Yakura wants to let Uchiha Kyosuke experience her blood following the limit scorch style, the power of oversteaming. Chapter 107. Kyosuke sighed. Just as Kyosuke was about to approach Yitsong quickly, he subdued her when she couldn't react. However, before Kyosuke could get close to Yitsong, a strange fireball appeared around her, surrounding and guarding her. Kyosuke was a little surprised, and the powerful fist that he rushed towards Yitsong immediately retracted. These weird fireballs, Kyosuke dared not touch them. Not only that, but Kyosuke quickly distanced himself from Yitsongshi in fear. Then, Kaiosuk's disappearing figure reappeared on the other side of Yitsong. You actually avoided my scorch style. Your reaction speed doesn't look bad. Seeing Kaiosuk's attack from the beginning, but now suddenly retreating, Yitsong's mouth rose. Her scorch style is a new nature transformation through the combination of the wind attribute chakra and the fire attribute chakra. Scorch style? That's right, the bloodline boundary. Hearing Yitsong say her strange and dangerous fireball ability is scorch style, Kaiosuk couldn't help frowning. Is there a scorch style blood follower in Sunagakure's ninja? Kaiosuk looked at Yitsong in front of him, her beautiful face, and thought about it for a while. After carefully rummaging through the dusty memories for a long time. After a while, Kaiosuk really knew who the female ninja in front of him was. Isn't she the poor girl Sand Shinobi, Yitsong, who was deceived by 4th Kazekage Luo Sha to go to Kirigakure in the name of performing a classified mission, and finally died there? Of course, this is still a long way from happening. After all, Luo Sha has not yet become the 4th Kazekage, and now he is being treated like a madman by Kaiosuk and Namikaze Minato, and they are crazy to seek revenge for Kaiosuk and them. Perhaps it is difficult to say whether Luo Sha can become the 4th Kazekage in the future. Thinking of this, Kaiosuk became sympathetic when he saw Yitsong's expression in front of him. Poor guy, I don't know if I've been deceived in the future. Not only that, Yitsong, who didn't know it, continued to work for Sunagakure faithfully and count the money as always. What do you look like? Damn, are you looking down on me? Seeing Kaiosuk staring at him with incomparable pity, Yitsong was angry. Mercy? Does she need mercy from Uchiha Kyosuke? Ridiculous. Kyosuke didn't care after hearing that, shook his head and smiled. I remember that there was a female ninja in Sunagakure who had the scorch style line of blood. It should be you, Yitsong. 99, huh? I didn't expect you to know me? Hearing Uchiha Kyosuke calling out her name, Yitsong was a little surprised. I don't want to know you, but who made you impress me so deeply? Kisuke, what an idiot. Being betrayed and continuing to work for others to count money. This is no one anymore. Kyosuke looked at Yitsong in front of him and said to himself, I didn't know you before, but you are so conspicuous and impressed me so deeply, even if I don't know you. At this time, Kyosuke spread his hands and said with a slightly playful smile on his face. In fact, Kyosuke still felt pity for Yitsong and Ishin was the village, but in the end he ended up tragically and became a victim of politics. Hearing Kyosuke's words and looking at Kyosuke's appearance, Yitsong subconsciously frowned. Yitsong didn't like Kyosuke's tone and look, even hated it. Because, in Sunagakure, Yitsong had met many people, and when she saw her figure and appearance, she showed such a disgusting look. Therefore, at this time, Kyosuke had a very bad impression in Yakura's heart. Even, Kyosuke has been marked as a lecher by Yitsong. Damn, Uchiha Kyosuke, damn you. Yitsong was enraged by Kyosuke and attacked directly with the fireball beside her. Although Yitsong's scorch style is really good, but if you watch out for those fireballs and don't let them touch you, you'll be fine. Therefore, although Kyosuke can't do anything to Yitsong, if he wants to avoid these dangerous fireballs, at Kyosuke's speed, there was no problem at all. But I have to say, your scorch style is really good. 35 As Yitsong attacked with a fireball in his hand, Kyosuke quickly moved to the other side. Kyosuke said this to Haikura easily while hiding. Seeing that Kyosuke didn't fight him directly, but distanced himself from him by relying on his extraordinary physical speed, Yitsong couldn't help but grit his teeth. The dignified black fangs, in my opinion, are nothing more than a false pretense. 9 Uchiha Kyosuke, don't you even have the courage to fight me head-on? 35 Seeing that he couldn't beat Kyosuke, Yitsong turned to ridicule Kyosuke with words. Ms. Yitsong, you really know what you're looking for. I didn't expect you to discover all my handsome qualities, Kyosuke said in a relaxed manner. 66. 9 Hearing Kyosuke's answer, Yitsong was speechless for a while. At this time, Yitsong looked at Kyosuke in front of him, and felt that the more he looked at it, the more unpleasant he was. You're right, I really can't do anything about your scorched style. However, it's a pity. Your tricks are useless to me. He distanced himself from Yitsong and hid aside. Kyosuke shook his head and replied to Yitsong. Humph, I think you are just a coward. 35 Seeing Kyosuke admit it so directly, Yitsong snorted coldly. Followed, she continued to manipulate her scorched style, attacking Kyosuke away. Those strange fireballs were chasing Kyosuke like ghosts. Although Kyosuke avoided him, as long as Kyosuke's figure appeared again, the strange fireball would continue to catch up with Kyosuke. Not only that, but Yitsong also started to fight back at this time. When she saw Kyosuke dodging the Scorch-style fireball again, taking advantage of this opportunity, Yitsong made a decisive attack. With the sharp kunai in his hand, Yakura quickly attacked Kyosuke, but Kyosuke also reacted immediately and quickly clenched his fist. Armed, hardened. Immediately, Kyosuke's fist was covered by the black armament haki and hit Kuishang, who was swung by Yakura. Bump! Kyosuke's armament haki-covered fist collided with the sharp kunai on Yakura's hand, making a sound of iron objects colliding. Ask for flowers. What? Seeing this scene, Yitsong couldn't help being surprised. Although Yakura didn't quite know why Kyosuke's fist suddenly turned black. However, seeing Kyosuke directly collided with the sharp kunai with just his fist, and it doesn't look like he's been hurt at all. She was shocked by Kyosuke. Can you achieve this level with just your fists? In the scope of Yitsong's cognition, the only person in the entire ninja world who can make his flesh and blood body invulnerable is AI, the third Raikage of Cloud Shinobi Village, who can do it alone. Third Raikage AI, his lightning style chakra mode, armor of lightning style, can greatly increase the hardness and speed by wrapping lightning around the body, turning the body into armor. And the Uchiha Kyosuke in front of him, he can actually revive his body into an armor. Kyosuke's armament haki completely refreshed Yitsong's understanding of Kyosuke. You seem surprised. 35 Kyosuke's fist collided with Yakura's hand, kunai, and they became deadlocked for a while. Therefore, seeing the surprised look on Yitsong's face in front of him, Kyosuke spoke to Yitsong without hesitation. And when he got close to Yitsong, Kyosuke had the opportunity to take a good look at Yitsong, the owner of the Scorch-style bloodline boundary who was later called a hero by Sunagakure. I have to say that Yitsong's skin is very fair and delicate. Upon closer inspection, Kyosuke felt that her appearance was much more delicate than it seemed before. Pesque, really a beauty. However, when Kyosuke thought that she was the ninja of Sunagakure, the land of wind, and the two of them could only be enemies, Kyosuke felt a little pity. Alas, it seems that I and this Yitsong will have nothing to do with each other in the future. With the current state of hostility between Konoha Village and Sunagakure, the diplomatic relations are incompatible. Not to mention Kyosuke's idea of hitting Sunagakure ninjas, even entering Sunagakure has to be sneaky. According to our Sunagakure information, Uchiha Kyosuke, although you can use fire style, you don't have lightning style. But why can your body's defense be as good as third Raikage's lightning style armor? Yitsong's eyes were full of shock and confusion. I didn't expect that I would get the news of fire style, and you Sunagakure can actually find out. It's quite amazing. Hearing Haikura say that, Kyosuke laughed. As the Uchiha clan, most clan members are born with fire style. So, Kyosuke will be fire style, which is not hard to hear. Uchiha Kyosuke, you don't know lightning style, let alone third Raikage's lightning style armor. But why is your body defense so strong? At this time, Yitsong was still chasing this question. However, upon hearing Yitsong's words, Kyosuke was a little unhappy. Who told you that if you don't know lightning style armor, your body defense can't be invulnerable? She. Chapter 108. The shocked look on Yitsong's face made Kyosuke very happy when he saw it. However, Kyosuke didn't like the tone of Yakura's words just now. Just now, Haikura kept saying that Kyosuke would never be able to use third Raikage's lightning style armor. These words, no matter how they sound, have the meaning of Kyosuke being compared by third Raikage and inferior to third Raikage AI. Although, Kyosuke's strength is indeed not as good as third Raikage AI nowadays. But Kyosuke believes that he will surpass third Raikage in the future and become the strongest person in the entire ninja world. The strongest god of Taijutsu, not lightning style. Hearing Kyosuke's words, Yitsong couldn't help but be stunned for a moment, and she also reflected it. When Kyosuke used this move just now, Yitsong didn't even notice that there was a trace of thunder attribute chakra on Kyosuke's body. Kyosuke felt as if he was underestimated by the woman in front of him, so he said angrily, "Forget it. Since you are so eager to learn, I will reluctantly be your teacher temporarily and explain it to you." 39. Listen, this is... Hey. For 47, what is the relationship between you and me? Why should I tell you? Just as Yitsong opened his eyes wide and looked at Kyosuke in front of him and was about to wait for Kyosuke to finish speaking, Kyosuke's attitude suddenly took a 360-degree turn. The speed of this turn caught Yitsong by surprise, so much so that she was shocked. Listen, this is... Hey, what is your relationship with me? Why did I tell you this? If you want to say it quickly, but after you have whetted people's appetite, you turn around and say why you are telling you. Isn't that just toying with her? Thinking of this, Yitsong looked at Kyosuke in front of him, and his beautiful eyes were full of cold colors. Uchiha Kyosuke, are you kidding me? Yitsong said coldly. Haha. Looking directly at Yitsong's icy, piercing gaze, Kyosuke not only was not afraid at all, but smiled instead. Am I kidding you? No, it's said that I'm not familiar with you, so I don't have the responsibility and obligation to explain it to you. But, if our relationship becomes intimate, I don't mind telling you my secrets in private. Kyosuke's words were provocative. After Yitsong heard it, he subconsciously wanted to go to the relationship between men and women. You are actually teasing yourself. Thinking of this, Yitsong's heart suddenly ignited a fire of ignorance. How has Yitsong ever been insulted like this? In the past, even if someone without eyes offended her, they had already turned into mummified corpses. Now, Yitsong doesn't mind another mummified corpse in her hand. Hateful. Uchiha Kyosuke, give me death. 35 behind Kyosuke, a few more fireballs suddenly appeared, attacking Kyosuke menacingly and leaving. Seeing this, Kyosuke had to temporarily choose a strategic retreat. Before those few fireballs attacked, Kyosuke had already retreated and continued to maintain a certain distance from Yitsong. Looking at the fireballs around Yitsong, Kyosuke was inexplicably unhappy. Although his physical attack is amazing, his shots are full of ultimate moves, and if he encounters a weaker opponent, he can kill him directly. However, when encountering a ninja like Yakura who has the boundaries of Scorch style, Kyosuke really lost his temper. As long as Kyosuke touched Yitsong's Scorch style fireball, even the slightest touch, it would be over. The best way to deal with a ninja like Yitsong is to use ninjutsu. In particular, water style, a ninjutsu that can restrain fire. However, Kyosuke doesn't even know a few fire-style ninjutsu that the Uchiha clan is good at. Not much chakra, not to mention water style. Since there is no way to rectify your woman with physical art, and you can't attack, then I can always use hidden weapons. In his heart, Kyosuke secretly said angrily. In fact, Kyosuke can ignore Yitsong too much. Just dump her and continue hunting sand shinobi on this battlefield to get quest points. Isn't it sweet? Isn't this delicious? But Kyosuke was completely suppressed by Yitsong's bloodline boundary, and he was also angry. At this time, Kyosuke directly chose to have S*X with the woman Yitsong. Kyosuke decided that he must take care of this fire-playing woman. To teach Yitsong a lesson, let her know that playing with fire in front of Kyosuke is very dangerous. System. Playing with fire? This doesn't seem right. Yitsong's bloodline limit is Scorch style. Following him, Kyosuke, who kept a certain distance from Yakura, took out a large stack of explosive talismans from his ninja bag. That's right, it's a big stack of explosive symbols. There are more in Kyosuke's ninja bag, but he hasn't taken it out for the time being. As the young master of the Uchiha family, Kyosuke has never lacked training resources and even more money. These detonating charms were prepared by Kyosuke's cheap brother, Uchiha Fugaku, for Kyosuke when he was leaving the village a few months ago. Kyosuke didn't know how many detonating charms he had. Anyway, in Kyosuke's ninja bag, except for the necessary ninja weapons and other ninja tools, everything else is a detonating charm. Now, Kyosuke doesn't plan to fight Yitsong himself. He wants to play the explosive charm. Otherwise, preparing so many detonating talismans would be useless on the battlefield, and Kyosuke felt it was a waste no matter what he thought. That's right, Kyosuke has decided. He's going to spend all the detonating charms this brings. Next, it's his performance time. And Yitsong there. When she saw Kyosuke took out a large stack of detonating talismans from her ninja bag, her eyes widened immediately. So many detonators. Is Uchiha Kyosuke a local tyrant? Also, what does Uchiha Kyosuke want to do? Could it be that you want to use that huge stack of detonating charms against her? As soon as he thought of this, Yitsong's scalp felt numb. You must know that after the detonation charm is detonated, its power is huge, even no less than the advanced fire-style ninjutsu released by Jonin. But correspondingly, the price of the detonating charm is also very expensive, which is very expensive. Therefore, generally ninjas do not carry much, and they will not be used on a large scale. However, looking at Kyosuke's appearance, holding a large stack of explosive amulets in his hand, and the bulge in his ninja bag, the ghost knows how much he has there. That battle must have gone to the scale of burning money. Yitsong stared at Kyosuke holding a large stack of detonating talismans in his hand, and couldn't help swallowing. At this moment, her eyes were filled with both fear and envy. Do you want to use these detonating charms against me? Yitsong had an unbelievable look on his face. Kyosuke grinned at Yitsong. That's right, the reward. Let's give you a blast first to celebrate. 35 After Kyosuke finished speaking with a smile, he directly attached the detonating talisman to Kunwa and shot towards Itsong with force and speed. Whoosh! The kunai carrying the detonating charm is very fast. Humph! Uchiha Kyosuke, don't underestimate me. Although he was surprised that there were so many detonating charms on Kyosuke's body, Yakura had no intention of retreating in the face of Kyosuke's attack. With a wave of Yi Sangshio's hand, the Scorch-style fireball directly hit the Kunwashang with the detonating talisman. The detonator was also instantly detonated by Kyosuke. Boom! The scarlet flames bloomed enchantingly, like enchanting and gorgeous other shore flowers. After the deafening explosion sounded, it was accompanied by a hot wave, and thick smoke rolled out. 5.1. It's quite powerful. Kyosuke nodded in satisfaction when he saw the power caused by the explosion of the detonating talisman. Kyosuke decided that when he went back, he would get more detonating charms to wear with him. It seems to be pretty good if you take it out and smash it out. Uchiha Fugaku reminded me sadly. He is just a prodigal son. Hurry up and save it for me. Our family can't stand the tossing of your kid. After the detonating talisman exploded, and when the thick smoke was slowly blown away, Itsong looked at Kyosuke. Her expression was very bad. It could even be said to be ugly. The power of a detonating talisman is no less than the advanced fire-style ninjutsu unleashed by Jonin. And Kyosuke still has such a big stack in his hand, not to mention, is there any more in his ninja bag? Thinking of this, Itsong, who had a very bad expression on his face, couldn't help but look even more ugly. With this little experiment just now, Kyosuke was very satisfied with the power of the detonating talisman. Instead, Kyosuke thinks that Sand Shinobi can also be hunted with the detonator talisman. In this way, Kyosuke will not only save a lot of trouble, but also will not affect the earning of quest points. Chapter 109. Thinking of this, Kyosuke looked around the battlefield and locked a Sand Shinobi. It's you. Whoosh. Kyosuke hurriedly hurled the kunai with the detonating talisman attached. Yitsong also noticed Kyosuke's actions, and when he saw that his target was a Sand Shinobi, Yitsong became angry. She didn't think that Kyosuke would be so ruthless, and killed her comrade without saying a word. Dangerous. Hurry up and dodge. Yitsong, who was too late to help, had to shout at Sand Shinobi, who was being stared at by Kyosuke. However, it is too late. That Sand Shinobi, who was targeted by Kyosuke, was desperately fighting with the Konoha Shinobi just now. At this time, when he was fighting with the Konoha Shinobi, he suddenly heard someone shouting at him in the distance. Dangerous. Hurry up and dodge. Following the voice, the name Sand Shinobi's eyes lit up. It's Lord Yitsong. However, then he was horrified to discover that a kunai shot at him at a rapid speed, and that kunai was still carrying an explosive charm. Boom! The detonating talisman was instantly detonated, and a large amount of rising flames directly devoured the Sand Shinobi. Ding! System prompt. Congratulations to the host for hunting down a Chunin and getting 30 mission points. As the flames engulfed Sand Shinobi, Kyosuke's mind also sounded a clear system prompt 27. Kyosuke's eyes lit up. It's done. Sure enough, this method is really convenient and hassle-free, and kills two birds with one stone. Suddenly, Kyosuke seems to have found a shortcut to get rich. At this time, Yitsong saw that her comrade had been bombed with no bones left. She turned to look at Kyosuke. Her eyes were full of anger. Yitsong gritted her teeth and said to Kyosuke, Damn! Uchiha Kyosuke, you actually... Kyosuke brutally murdered her companion right under her nose, which completely angered Yitsong. At the same time, she still felt powerless in her heart. Seeing Uchiha Kyosuke slaying her comrades, she could only watch and do nothing. Uchiha Kyosuke, I will never let you go. Give me death. Under Yitsong's rage, he summoned more Scorch-style fireballs again, and followed her to kill Kyosuke directly. This woman seems to be very concerned about her companion. Kyosuke was a little surprised when he saw Yitsong rushing forward desperately, trying to fight with himself. Kyosuke didn't expect that the explosive talisman he used just now killed a Sand Shinobi, and at the same time ignited the powder keg in Yitsong's heart. However, this can be put to good use. At this time, seeing Yitsong's desperate rush forward to die with him, Kyosuke made a plan in his heart. Although Yakura wanted to fight with Kyosuke, he had to be willing to do so. However, Kyosuke is not stupid. He knew that Yitsong's Scorch style was the most restrained in melee combat, so he wouldn't be foolish enough to fight Yitsong. So, in the face of Yakura, who was rushing up to fight him, Kyosuke was cunning and rogue. Shave. Before Yitsong rushed forward, Kyosuke disappeared like a ghost, leaving only an afterimage. Fleeing again? Damn. 99 Seeing that Uchiha Kyosuke was so rude, Yitsong was so angry that she shouted angrily, Uchiha Kyosuke, you are a coward. Heh. You'll know to run away. But if you have the ability, come out and fight me in an upright contest. After Yitsong finished drinking, Kyosuke actually responded, You want to fight me, don't you? 35 Okay. Then take the trick. 99 Kyosuke's voice fell, and a whoosh sounded. The three kunai attached to the detonating talisman charged towards Yitsong without any blind spots. Despicable. Shameless. Kyosuke clearly promised Yitsong that he would fight her head-on. However, the kunai plus detonating talisman in his hand was projected very neatly without any hesitation. Looking at Kyosuke's battle, he didn't mean to take on Yakura head-on. Although Yitsong cursed Kyosuke's despicableness and shamelessness in various ways, Yitsong did not dare to be careless in the face of the three attacking kunai. So, Yitsong once again controlled 3 Scorch-style fireballs and hit them directly. Boom, boom, boom. After 3 loud explosions, the flames shot into the sky. Before Yitsong could breathe a sigh of relief, she heard a loud explosion of a detonating talisman not far away, mixed with shrill screams. Ding. System prompt. Congratulations to the host for successfully hunting down a Chunin and getting 30 quest points. Ding. System prompt. Congratulations to the host for successfully hunting down a Genin and getting 10 mission points. Killed 2. Kyosuke was a little surprised, but he didn't expect it to be like this. However, the effect of detonating sand shinobi is pretty good. This method, Kyosuke quite likes, even a little addicted. This feeling, as if in a previous life, when Kyosuke was a child, the joy of frying fish by the river. Orochimaru that side. At this time, Wanshi joined Orochimaru to deal with Chiyo's mother-in-law, and the two sides fought back and forth. Although, the two sides appear to be evenly matched. However, mother-in-law Chiyo's forbidden technique, white secret skills near Song 10 people consumes a lot of chakra and mental power. Although, the power of the puppet master can be seen from the number of puppets he controls. However, correspondingly, manipulating more puppets will also increase the burden on the puppet master, consuming more chakra and spiritual power. Otherwise, Chiyo would not be able to characterize the white secret technique, the 10 people of Kinmatsu, as the forbidden technique. At this time, Orochimaru and Chiyo's mother-in-law were temporarily at a standstill. After a fight, they didn't get the upper hand. There was a lot of noise at Kyosuke's place, and the explosive charms seemed like they didn't want money, and they kept hitting Sand Shinobi and Yakura. The deafening sound of rumbling and rumbling explosions is like setting off firecrackers, and it has not stopped so far. At this moment, Orochimaru looked in Kyosuke's direction. Boom! Another loud explosion came from Kyosuke, killing and injuring some Sand Shinobi. Looking at the fire from the explosion, Orochimaru's expressionless face looked a little weird. There are surprises, helplessness, and vague relief. In short, the expression is very complicated. Do you use a lot of detonating charms to deal with the enemy? As expected of you, Kyosuke-kun, Orochimaru said to himself. For Kyosuke, a student who never played cards according to common sense, made such a lavish move. While Orochimaru was a little surprised, he also expressed understanding. However, hearing the sound of boom, 35-inch from Kyosuke, like a firecracker, Orochimaru's face hurt a little. This is simply burning money. Orochimaru, he didn't dare to do that. 447. At the same time, Orochimaru's mind became active. It seems that the Uchiha family is quite rich. Damn Uchiha Kyosuke. Chiyo's mother-in-law was also attracted by the sound of the explosion from Kyosuke's place. Looking at the fire from the explosion, Chiyo's mother-in-law said with resentment on her face. A long time ago, on Kyosuke's side, there was such a big movement with the detonating talisman. Although Chiyo's mother-in-law was busy dealing with Orochimaru and Wanshi, she had noticed it long ago. Although grandmother Chiyo wished to rush over to kill Kyosuke immediately, she was helpless. She was restrained by Orochimaru and Wanshi, and had no chance to escape at all. Chiyo, I see that you Sunagakure are going to be unable to hold on. So, you should surrender quickly. Orochimaru said hoarsely to Granny Chiyo. Orochimaru, if it wasn't for your student Uchiha Kyosuke, who obstructs our Sunagakure time and time again, we wouldn't be in such a passive situation. Granny Chiyo looked at Kyosuke angrily, then withdrew her gaze and said to Orochimaru through gritted teeth. Uchiha Kyosuke was a student of Orochimaru, and Sunagakure had already found out this information. Not only that, Chiyo also knows that Kyosuke's identity is very unusual. He is the young master of the Uchiha family and the younger brother of Uchiha Fugaku. One snake naturally noticed the movement in Kyosuke, and when it heard Chiyo's mother-in-law said that Kyosuke was a student of Orochimaru, it was a little surprised. What, nanny? Orochimaru, that kid is your student? 99, very capable, that brat. Orochimaru, when did you accept that kid as a student? How come I don't know? Orochimaru. Chapter 110. Do I have to report students to you, guy? Orochimaru, who was very aware of the temperament of the snake, chose to remain silent at this time, as if he did not hear what the snake said. Similarly, Namake's Minato and Rosa there. Because Luo Sha was stimulated, his heart was invaded by hatred, so he attacked Namake's Minato without any effort. In the battle between the two of them, Luo Sha actually suppressed Namake's Minato vaguely and gained the upper hand. However, Namake's Minato can completely contain Luo Sha with his superb flying thunder god technique. Facing Luo Sha, Namake's Minato was only slightly disadvantaged. So, this is not a big problem. The movement caused by Kyosuke's side was very big, and it also attracted the attention of Luo Sha and Namake's Minato. Boom. There was another loud explosion. Looking at Kyosuke, Namake's Minato smiled wryly. Kyosuke-kun, what should I say? You are the only one who can do such a thing, Kyosuke-kun. It was the first time Namake's Minato had seen the detonating talisman, which kept throwing it at Sand Shinobi for no money. If it were him, Namake's Minato would not dare to do like Kyosuke. After all, Minato was born as a commoner and did not have the rich heritage of the Uchiha family. Although after becoming a ninja, over the years, Namake's Minato has continued to perform tasks and indeed accumulated a lot of money. However, this can't stand the money-burning behavior of Kyosuke. Luo Sha looked at Kyosuke and gritted his teeth in hatred. He had long wanted to rush over to clean up Kyosuke, who was escaping. Hatefully, Namake's Minato always haunts him. Luo Sha also wants to end the battle with Namake's Minato early, so that after finishing up Namake's Minato, go to kill Kyosuke. However, with Namake's Minato's flying thunder god technique, when Luo Sha faced him, he always felt a sense of suffocation and helplessness when he punched cotton. It would be fine if it was a head-to-head contest, but Namake's Minato made full use of the flexibility of the flying thunder god technique to keep Luo Sha tightly entangled. Hearing the bang rumbling explosions that kept coming from Kyosuke, Luo Sha, who was already irritable in his heart, became more and more irritable. Boom. 35. Ding. System prompt. Congratulations to the host for hunting down a Chunin and getting 30 quest points. Boom. Ding. System prompt. Congratulations to the host for killing 2 Genin and getting 20 quest points. Boom. The large stack of explosive talismans in Kyosuke's hand was thrown at Sand Shinobi without money, harvesting and killing one Sand Shinobi after another. And Yitsong, who was entangled with Kyosuke, saw that Kyosuke was right in front of her, brutally killing her companion, and her beautiful eyes had long lost her previous reason. At this moment, Yitsong's eyes were full of anger that could almost spurt out raging rage. Boom. B. A tragic cry rang out. Ding. System prompt. Congratulations to the host for hunting down a Chunin and getting 30 quest points. Another Sand Shinobi, dead on Kyosuke's detonator. Uchiha Kyosuke, stop me now. Yitsong scolded Kyosuke angrily. Seeing another comrade die at the hands of Uchiha Kyosuke, Yitsong almost ran wild. Is this the first time her companions have died in front of her? Is it the 10th? Or the 11th? Yitsong had long since forgotten. All she knew was that every time Kyosuke projected the detonator, one of her comrades would lose their lives. She wanted to stop her, but whenever Yakura rushed forward to stop Kyosuke and save his comrades, Kyosuke threw the detonating talisman at no cost. In the end, Yakura, who was stopped by Kyosuke, had to stop with hatred, and she saw all the tragic scenes of the tragic death of her companion, but she could only watch it helplessly. Kyosuke's trick, I have to say, very vicious. Murder and kill. In fact, the reason why Kyosuke did this was his intention. His physique moves were almost restrained to death by Yitsong. Then, he must find a gap in Yitsong's body and defeat her. So, Kyosuke saw Yitsong's Achilles heel that she cared about her companions, and took advantage of Yitsong's weakness, relentlessly slaughtering Sand Shinobi, constantly influencing her, constantly stimulating her. The companion was brutally killed by the enemy in front of him, but he couldn't stop it at all and could only watch the companion die in pain. This will definitely hit Yitsong hard, and when that happens, Kyosuke will have a chance. It is not a simple matter to clean up the woman Yitsong in this way. It has to be said that the means used by Kyosuke in order to clean up Yitsong are indeed very cruel. But kindness to the enemy is cruelty to oneself. Killing these sand shinobi, Kyosuke has no psychological burden at all. Sure enough, after going through Kyosuke's vicious means of killing people, and after Kyosuke's cruel stimulation, Yitsong's mind finally began to collapse. Abaj. Kill Uchiha Kyosuke. She must kill Uchiha Kyosuke. This paranoid thought, in Yitsong's mind, had reached the point of madness. At this moment, Yitsong let go of her hands and feet completely and launched her most powerful move so far. I saw that Yitsong spread out his hands and constantly summoned Scorch-style fireballs from his hands. Numerous Scorch-style fireballs gathered around Yitsong, almost about to surround her. Kyosuke's scalp goes numb when he sees the numerous Scorch-style fireballs. If you really come across that thing, it's not a matter of mummification or not. It is estimated that there will be no bones left for you. Also, Yitsong has summoned so many Scorch-style fireballs. What does she want to do? Do you want to smash Kyosuke with Scorch-style fireballs like Kyosuke did? Although he didn't know what the woman Yitsong wanted to do, Kyosuke was secretly vigilant. Now, he has almost driven Yitsong into a rage, and looking at Yitsong's posture, he may be about to make a big trick. Sure enough, what happened next was not what Kyosuke expected. I saw Yitsong spread her hands and raise them to the top of her head. Immediately, the Scorch-style fireballs around her, as if guided by invisible forces, all converged on the top of her head. After a while, many Scorch-style fireballs continued to merge and soon formed a large Scorch-style fireball. With the continuous fusion of small Scorch-style fireballs, the large Scorch-style fireball above Yitsong's head became bigger and bigger. Not good. Seeing the huge fiery red Scorch-style fireball above Yitsong's head, Kyosuke couldn't help but change his expression. He just glanced at it, and he could already feel very clearly that there was an incomparably violent energy in the giant Scorch-style fireball. That incomparably tyrannical energy is very terrifying, as if it can destroy everything in an instant. At this point, Kyosuke only had one thought in his mind. "Do you Zhao? We must get out of here as soon as possible. We must get away from this crazy woman Yitsong as soon as possible. Otherwise, once that giant red Scorch-style fireball explodes, Kyosuke is completely done. You can't escape, Uchiha Kyosuke." At this moment, Yitsong's hands formed seals, and the huge fiery red Scorch-style fireball above his head sent out a terrifying power. The surroundings were already enveloped by fiery red light, filled with extremely scorching high temperature. "You crazy woman!" Kyosuke ignored Yitsong and did not continue to play his detonating talisman feast. At this moment, Kyosuke just wanted to stay away from this crazy woman, Yitsong. So, Kyosuke, who didn't dare to trust him, directly opened 8 inner gates. 8 inner gates, 4th gate, Duman, open. In an instant, Kyosuke burst out with a huge momentum, and his strength and speed have been greatly improved at this time. Kyosuke wants to get away from this mad woman as soon as possible. At the same moment, the terrifying giant Scorch-style fireball above Yitsong's head completely erupted with its terrifying lethality. Blast. Negative. Chapter 111. As Yitsong drank, the giant Scorch-style fireball exploded instantly. With Yitsong as the center, within a radius of 1 kilometer, all of them were shrouded in fiery red. Boom! The sky-high flames rose up in the battlefield, with great momentum. The vastness of Kyosuke and Yitsong's momentum directly shocked many people. At this time, Orochimaru and Granny Chiyo stopped their hands in tacit understanding and looked at the sky-high fire. At this time, Orochimaru's face was a little ugly. Because, Orochimaru, he knew that the huge range of fire was definitely not something Kyosuke could produce. Are there other great characters in Sunigekure? But what is certain is that the strength of that person who can cause such a huge damage range is definitely beyond the level of Jonin. Who the hell is? Orochimaru's face was gloomy. Granny Chiyo looked at the huge fire rising in the distance, and her face was a little surprised. Is it Scorch style? Yes, can't be wrong. It must be Yitsong's Scorch style. If it was Hakura who dealt with Black Fong, then maybe Uchiha Kyosuke could be dealt with. Likewise, the mighty sky-high flames also caused Namake's Minato and Luo Sha to stop subconsciously. Ha 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 ha. It's Yitsong. It must be Yitsong. At this time, Looking at the sky-high firelight, Luo Sha suddenly burst out laughing wildly and kept saying, "You can't go wrong, that's Yitsong's scorched style. Ha 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 ha. Uchiha Kyosuke, now I want to see if you can escape with 447. 35 then." Luo Sha looked at Namikaze Minato, who had been pestering him, laughed and said, "Namikaze Minato, didn't you keep me from going to Uchiha Kyosuke? Now it's all right, I don't need to do anything. Uchiha Kyosuke, he will definitely die at the hands of that guy in Yakura. Ha 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 ha. Namikaze Minato, now you don't have to stop me. You can go over and collect the body for Uchiha Kyosuke." Yitsong's scorched style is so powerful that Luo Sha knows that, and he is very afraid of it. At this moment, Luo Sha felt really happy. That damn Black Fong, Uchiha Kyosuke, was finally solved by Yitsong. Although Uchiha Kyosuke didn't die in his hands, Luo Sha felt a little pity. However, as long as Uchiha Kyosuke died, the thorn in Luo Sha's heart disappeared naturally. Scorched style? At this time, Namikaze Minato's face was also solemn. Scorched style is a kind of blood following the boundary. It is quite powerful. Namikaze Minato has also heard of it. Not only that, but Namikaze Minato also knows that there is a ninja in Sunagakure who has Scorched Style's bloodline boundaries. It seems that Kyosuke has met Sand Shinobi who has the bloodline of Scorched Style. This is not good. Kyosuke-kun, please don't have an accident. Namikaze Minato, like Orochimaru, can't help but secretly worry about Kyosuke's safety. The red flames soaring into the sky covered the entire 1.5 kilometer range centered on Yetsong. With the disappearance of the fire, it was immediately covered by a large amount of white smoke, and it was not clear what was happening in this area. As the white smoke slowly dissipated, the scene inside gradually appeared. Everywhere you see is a piece of scorched earth, and every now and then, there are traces of smoke with a scorching temperature, slowly drifting into the sky. The previous towering giant tree, at this time, only the trunk that was scorched and scorched. Here, it is a miserable appearance of being scorched and dilapidated. Moreover, because Yitsong's scorched style ninjutsu spread so much, many ninjas didn't have time to escape at that time. They, without exception, all died in the fire. Therefore, on this scorched land, dry and wrinkled corpses can be seen everywhere, all showing the terrifying appearance before death. It's just that these mummies can't be seen from Sand Shinobi or Konoha Shinobi. Or both. Call. A heavy breathing sound rang out on this devastated, deadly scorched earth. Yitsong's tall and perfect figure appeared here. It's just that now she's panting so hard that her stamina is a bit overdrawn. Although Yitsong has more strength than Jonin, she is also very burdened to launch a ninjutsu with such mass destruction. Not to mention, it would cost her a lot of chakra. Yitsong gasped heavily, looking at the scorched earth and the mummified corpses in front of him. My own move, presumably, that Uchiha Kyosuke has already been dealt with. Yitsong's attack just now was her most powerful ninjutsu. In addition, she attacked with all her strength, let alone Jonin. She is an ordinary Kaga-level powerhouse. If she was really hit by Yitsong's move, she would definitely be killed. So, if Yakura really hit Kyosuke, his fate must be tragic. Just like the mummified corpses in Yitsong's eyes at this time. Yitsong thought about this, and thought of that abominable Black Fong, Uchiha Kyosuke, who is now probably turned into a mummified corpse. After thinking about all this, even though Yitsong was still breathing heavily at this time, it could be seen that the expression on her face relaxed a lot. Huh. Uchiha Kyosuke. Finally kill you. Looking at the scorched earth in front of him, Yitsong gasped and said briskly. After realizing that Kyosuke had been dealt with by himself, Haikura felt inexplicably much better. Before, Kyosuke had been recklessly in front of Yitsong, mercilessly slaughtering her companions. Yitsong had long hated Kyosuke. At that time, Yakura even planned to die with Kyosuke. But, well now, the demon Uchiha Kyosuke has finally been killed by himself. The boulder that had been pressing against Yitsong's heart was finally put down. Thinking of this, on Yitsongjiao's beautiful face, the corners of his mouth could not help but rise slightly. However, before she could wait for Yitsong's joy to last long, a familiar voice that could no longer be familiar resounded behind Yitsong's back. That voice was what Yitsong hated the most and didn't want to hear. Yeah, it's really dangerous, Miss Yitsong. I was almost killed by you. Kyosuke's voice came clearly into her ears from behind Yitsong. And it's still very close. Even Yitsong could feel the breath that Kyosuke spit out when he spoke, hitting her ear and neck directly. In an instant, Yitsong's tall body froze like a stone. Not only that, Yi Tsong's eyes widened, and his beautiful eyes were full of disbelief. Uchiha Kyosuke. It's Uchiha Kyosuke. He is not dead. How is this possible? You know, that was Yi Tsong's strongest blow. However, even with Yi Tsong's strongest blow, Kyosuke managed to dodge it. Yi Tsong's body stiffened. The look in her eyes changed from shock at first to disbelief, and gradually turned into anger. She tried her best to kill Uchiha Kyosuke, but it didn't work. He was still dodged by Uchiha Kyosuke. Does what she did make sense? Why? Why? Uchiha Kyosuke, why are you still alive? Yi Tsong clenched her silver teeth fiercely, and the angry look slowly emerged on her face again. Hey, you woman, I haven't settled the account with you just now. Why are you cursing me now? Hearing Yi Tsong gritted his teeth and kept asking Kyosuke why he didn't die of anger, Kyosuke was also speechless. I haven't figured it out with you just now. How dare I provoke me now? You crazy woman. Are you really impatient? Kyosuke's words came from Yi Tsong's ears. But at this time, Yi Tsong suddenly made his move. At some point in her hand, she held a kunai in her hand, and immediately wanted to turn around quickly and attack Kyosuke. Woman, I advise you to be honest. Otherwise, I'm not sure if my hands will tremble and slip a few knives on your neck. Kyosuke, who was behind Yi Tsong, warned her coldly and mercilessly. And at this moment, Yi Tsong also felt a cold feeling coming from her neck, which was the icy temperature that the sharp blade had just now. Chapter 112. You are very ruthless. At this moment, Yi Tsong's body could not help stiffening. She had just held the kunai in her hand, and her move to turn around and attack Kyosuke suddenly stopped. That action seemed a little strange and inconsistent. The cold warning in Kyosuke's words and the cold temperature on her neck reminded Yi Tsong. What Kyosuke said is true. Seeing Yi Tsong stopped attacking, Kyosuke continued to speak beside Yi Tsong's ear. Lost your weapon. 35. Although the current Yakura seems obviously to be physically weak, Kyosuke does not dare to be careless. You must know that on the battlefield, even the slightest careless underestimation of the enemy will put yourself in danger. What's more, what he is facing is Yi Tsong, a mad woman who has the bloodline of scorched style. Kyosuke was even more careful. Hearing Kyosuke's words, Yi Tsong hesitated a little, but the kunwar in her hand couldn't help but clench a little. I don't want to repeat what I said just now. Kyosuke saw Yi Tsong's reaction and warned out loud. However, Hikura was still a little unmoved by what Kyosuke said. That's what annoys Kyosuke. Woman, don't you know what situation you are in now? You are my captive, you know? Or woman, do you really think I can't lift a knife? Yi Tsong was so uncooperative, and Kyosuke was also unequivocal. The kunai with his hand on Yi Tsong's neck was just a little bit of force. The sharp blade in Kyosuke's hand quickly cut through Yi Tsong's snow-white and delicate skin. Scarlet blood slowly overflowed with the intrusion of the blade. At the same time, Yi Tsong instantly felt a tingling pain in her neck. She knew that Kyosuke was a warning to her, the warning not to heed his words. So, Yi Tsong slowly closed his eyes and let go of Kua's hand. The kunai had no support and simply fell to the ground. Very good. Kyosuke nodded when he saw Yakura, who gave up his resistance as if he had been appointed. However, Kyosuke is still wary of Yi Tsong, and maybe she will come up with those troublesome and dangerous scorch styles. Thinking of this, Kyosuke directly controlled Yi Tsong, controlled her two arm joints, and controlled her. After this, Kyosuke finally no longer has to worry about Yi Tsong's counterattack. Now, Kyosuke, who is relieved, has a chance to look around. Just now, Yi Tsong's scorched style slammed a blow, causing all the scorched earth, mummified corpses, and deadwood within a radius of 1 kilometer. Tisk. Looking at the unrecognizable scene of the destruction in front of him, and the mummified corpses lying on the ground, Kyosuke couldn't help but wonder. Miss Yi Tsong, your scorched style is pretty good, and, I have to say, you're pretty ruthless. The enemy and the friend are all killed. Tisk. Crazy. The corpses scattered on the ground were all ninjas who had no time to escape when Yakura launched the scorched style ninjutsu. Among these people, there must be both Sand Shinobi and Konoha Shinobi. Looking at the horrifying mummy, Kyosuke was also secretly grateful. At that time, if it wasn't for Kyosuke, he noticed something was wrong, and immediately opened the 4th gate of the 8 inner gates, and quickly escaped from the attack range of this scorched style. Maybe, Kyosuke has already turned into a mummified corpse. Kyosuke's words were slightly ironic. However, Yi-song still looked like he had been appointed with his eyes closed. Seeing Yi-song's appearance, Kyosuke shrugged his shoulders, feeling bored. However, how to deal with this enemy prisoner has become a difficult problem for Kyosuke. Killed directly? Kyosuke couldn't help shaking his head when he saw Yi-song, who was so charming in front of him. It would be too much of a pity if it was too hard to destroy flowers. Besides, to deal with women in such a disgraceful way makes me seem very boring. If so, then let it go. In this case, Kyosuke felt that he was at a disadvantage again. After all, Yi-song used her scorch style to follow the line, and Kyosuke was caught off guard, even a little embarrassed. If it was so easy to let her go, Kyosuke felt that he was not that virgin. TSK, Miss Yi-song, what do you think I'm going to do with you? Kyosuke looked at Yi-song, who still closed his eyes and gave up his appointment, the corner of his mouth raised slightly. Let's see. Anyway, this battle you Sunagakure is also lost. Good birds choose wood to live in. I think you might as well give up Sunagakure and come to our Konoha village. Kyosuke looked like I was doing it for your own good, and said to Yi-song in a persuasive manner. Furthermore, you killed a lot of your village comrades just now. If the upper Sunagakure officials were to investigate, it would be difficult for Miss Yi-song to escape. When Kyosuke said this, Yi-song's body couldn't help shaking. Before, Ishin wanted to save her companion, but what did she do? Then, Yi-song, who had been silent for a long time, finally spoke up. You still kill me. Yi-song's attitude is very clear. She will not betray Sunagakure. *###. However, Kyosuke didn't care either. He just said it casually anyway. Maybe the blind cat met the dead mouse and happened to convince the madwoman Yi-song? However, Yi-song is not stupid. Wanna die? The blade in Kyosuke's hand resting on Yi-song's snow-white neck couldn't help but increase his strength a little. Immediately, scarlet blood flowed out from the wound on her neck again. However, Yi-song didn't respond to Kyosuke's move. Following him, Kyosuke withdrew the strength on the blade, moved closer, and said slowly beside Yi-song's ear, Since you want to die, then I will. I won't let you die. 9 Yakura. Kyosuke's words and deeds always make Yi-song unpredictable. This woman Yi-song is now Ishin begging to die, but Kyosuke is not going to let her go so easily. In fact, death is very simple, but it is over with one knife. People die for nothing. Besides, if Yi-song wanted to die, Kyosuke couldn't do what she wanted. If this is the case, Kyosuke has fulfilled Yi-song, and he has become a so-called good person, so the good person should be left to others. Uchiha Kyosuke, kill or cut, whatever you want. At this time, Yi-song suddenly opened his eyes and stared at Kyosuke fiercely. Yo, this temper is quite stubborn. 35 Kyosuke said with a smile. However, that's what makes it interesting. After finishing speaking, Kyosuke retracted the blade that had touched Yi-song's neck. However, Kyosuke still firmly controlled Yi-song's hands in the opposite direction. You are. Seeing Kyosuke suddenly withdraw the blade from his neck, Yi-song couldn't help but startled. What does he want to do? Don't get me wrong, I'm not a good person. Looking at Yi-song, Kyosuke reminded her. Humph. Hearing this, Yi-song snorted coldly. Actually, what you said just now is quite right. Kyosuke, who had withdrawn the blade, could free up his hands, making it easier to control the madwoman Yi-song. That sentence? Which sentence is it? At this time, Yi-song, who was showing a very tough temper, was a little stunned when he heard Kyosuke's words. You're my captive now, so everything about you is mine, you know, woman. 995 Kyosuke straightened Yi-song's body, looked at her, and said lightly. So, whether you want to kill or cut, or how you plan to deal with you, it's up to me. Looking at Kyosuke, who was very close, Haikura couldn't help gnashing his teeth. Chapter 113. All of this was caused by the abominable black fangs in front of him. Although Kyosuke's appearance is extremely handsome, in Yi-song's eyes, he looks extremely hateful. Humph. It fell into your hands, because my skills are inferior to others, and I have nothing to say. However, if you want me to give in, never mind. Yi-song was still as stubborn and unyielding as he was. TFT. Kyosuke shook his head slowly. I never intended to make you submit to me. Next, Kyosuke stared straight at Yi-song, who was in front of him. At such a close distance, Kyosuke could clearly see Kyosuke's reflection in Yi-song's beautiful eyes. Everyone has to pay a corresponding price for their actions, and you are no exception, cost? After Yi-song heard this, he couldn't help but sneer. She is not afraid of death now. Is she still afraid of the so-called price that Kyosuke said? 450. However, Yitsong then knew what the price Kyosuke was talking about. I saw that Kyosuke was facing Yitsong and raised Yitsong's lower jaw with a playful expression on his face. Yo, Miss Yitsong. I just realized now that you look pretty good. Kyosuke's appearance is completely the frivolous appearance of a rich boy molesting a woman from a good family. Shame. This is the shame of Chiguagua. At this time, Yitsong, who was treated like this by Kyosuke, felt a deep sense of shame. Yitsong's beautiful eyes were burning with anger. I advise you to kill me, otherwise, I will kill you sooner or later. However, before the embarrassed Yitsong finished speaking, he was directly blocked by Kyosuke. In an instant, Yitsong was speechless. At this time, her beautiful eyes stared at the boss. Uchiha Kyosuke, since you dare to do this to me. Sweet, soft. It also has a few traces of fragrance that seduce the mind. Coming to this world, Kyosuke is also the first time to truly understand the true meaning of it. The red one doesn't count. She was attacked by her. Kyosuke, I will pay it back sooner or later. Just when Kyosuke was addicted to it for a while and couldn't extricate himself. Just when Yitsong stared at the boss, she stared at Kyosuke in a stupid way. Suddenly, a loud noise came from behind Konoha. Roar. A monster's roar spread across the battlefield. Immediately after that, the earth began to vibrate. The movement was so great that it woke Kyosuke, who was addicted. What exactly happened? Although he was a little upset, Kyosuke knew that he was careless just now. Alas, how can one be distracted on the battlefield? Then, Kyosuke looked in the direction that caused the huge movement just now. Well, that direction? It's Konoha base camp. Kyosuke's heart suddenly sank. He didn't expect. In order to win this battle with Konoha, Sunagakure would be so crazy. Now that the frontal battlefield is already very unfavorable to Sunagakure's side, they didn't expect that they would dare to disperse their forces and directly attack Konoha's base camp. However, when Kyosuke saw Konoha base camp there, he was a little surprised. What a big civet cat. That's one-tail Shikuru. Crazy. Really crazy. In this battle, Sunagakure actually sent all the Jinchuriki from their village. You must know that in this ninja world war, although Konoha was attacked by 3 parties, none of the village's Jinchuriki and Kushina were sent to the battlefield. Although Jinchuriki is powerful, it is often regarded as an important military force of a country. However, that is relative. If Jinchuriki can't completely control the tailed beast, it will be a disaster on the battlefield. At that time, the tailed beast would destroy friends and foes on a large scale. Therefore, if it is absolutely necessary and has a good grasp of it, the major powers will not easily send Jinchuriki to participate in the war. But now, since Sunagakure sent their village's Jinchuriki to the battlefield, the pros and cons must have been known for a long time. Sunagakure, I really underestimate you. 33 Kyosuke's eyes narrowed as he watched one-tail Shizuru wreaking havoc behind Konoha base camp. Now, Kyosuke doesn't have much time to continue entanglement with this woman, Yitsong. Kyosuke, he must go back to Konoha base camp. Konoha's main force is on the front line, and the back is basically all the logistical medical personnel. Although there is Tsunade sitting behind Konoha, Kyosuke knows that Tsunade suffers from hyperphobia. Today, although Tsunade is one of the Sannin, if you use your hands on the battlefield, it will definitely not work. What's more, there is Lin behind Konoha. So, Kyosuke has to hurry up and stop one-tail Shikaku. Thinking of this, Kyosuke looked at Yitsong in front of him. Her face was still beautiful and perfect, but her expression was still dazed and sluggish. Obviously, Kyosuke's actions just now really gave her a big impact. How to deal with this crazy woman now is a little difficult for Kyosuke. Killed? She had already left Kyosuke's mark on her just now, and Kyosuke couldn't do such a ruthless and uninteresting thing. Alas, since this is the case, it can only be let go. As for the two of them, Kyosuke thinks, let's go with the flow. Kyosuke wouldn't mind teasing her in the future if it was fate. Silly woman, remember it, be careful. Don't be betrayed by others in the future. Don't know. 35 Kyosuke patted Yitsong, who was still in a dazed state, and reminded her kindly. If Yitsong was still sent to Kirigakure by Luo Sha foolishly, Kyosuke would be speechless. After that, Kyosuke released Yitsong directly, and then he quickly rushed towards the direction of Konoha base camp. Anyway, now that Yitsong's chakra is almost exhausted, Kyosuke doesn't have to be afraid that she will continue to catch up, and Yitsong is here. Being given this by Kyosuke, her entire brain was on standby. She didn't think about it. The black fangs are so shameless. This was also the first time in Yitsong's life, so she just stood there in a daze for a long time. She didn't wake up until Kyosuke patted her cheek and spoke to her. However, by then Kyosuke had gone far away from 5.1. Stop, Uchiha Kyosuke. How dare you do this to me? Kill you. I must kill you. 99. Seeing the figure of Kyosuke leaving in the distance, Yitsong, who came back to his senses, roared at Kyosuke. However, it seems that Kyosuke did not hear. So, Yitsong, who was full of anger, also chased after Kyosuke's distant figure. Yitsong swears, I must kill Uchiha Kyosuke, this shameless person. However, before Yakura could catch up, Konoha Shinobi stopped him. She's Sand Shinobi. People of Sunagakure, give me death. 35 mini Konoha Shinobi fighters directly killed Yitsong. Yitsong was blocked by the Konoha Shinobi who came over and couldn't catch up for a while. Hateful. Helpless, Yitsong had no choice but to watch Kyosuke's figure getting farther and farther away. Chapter 114. Behind the Leaves. At this point, the place was already in chaos. One-tail Shoha, who looked like a raccoon dog with a spell pattern all over his body, appeared behind Konoha base camp. And Shoha's huge size is simply not something that ordinary ninjas can handle. Wind style. Practice empty bombs. Immediately, One-tail Shikaku spit out a huge wind ball containing a large amount of chakra from his mouth and violently attacked Konoha base camp and left. Its speed is fast and its power is strong. Boom. The violent and powerful wind-style shockwave was simply difficult to stop, and it directly destroyed a large area of Konoha base camp. The tents, fences, and other equipment in Konoha base camp were destroyed by this extremely powerful wind-style shockwave. Moreover, it also affected many Konoha shinobi players, and some were lucky and only caused minor injuries. However, many Konoha shinobi were seriously injured, bloodied, and even died. Medical class. Medical class. 39. We need help here, and many of our companions are injured, very seriously. Medical class. We also need assistance here. Medical class. In Konoha base camp, shouts of support sounded from time to time. At this time, only a very small number of ninjas were the main combat members, staying in the Konoha base camp and responsible for protecting the safety of the Konoha base camp. The rest, most of them are not very powerful logistics staff, medical staff, and so on. I have to say that Sunagakure's plan to directly let Jinchuriki attack the base camp of Mu-27 is really brilliant. Attacking the Konoha base camp, disrupting the logistical forces and medical squads that hit Konoha, can put great pressure on the frontline Konoha main force. Moreover, if Sunagakure successfully attacked and won the Konoha base camp, it would definitely cooperate with the main Sunagakure troops on the front line, forming a horn in front and back, and defeating Konoha in one fell swoop. Funfu, your Sunagakure's move against Konoha is quite effective. 35. The initiator of the chaos at Konoha base camp, One-tail Shizuru, looked at the chaotic scene at Konoha base camp and said to the Jinchuriki inside it. At this time, in the body of One-tail Shoha, there is an elderly monk wearing a robe, white eyebrows, and beard. This person is the Jinchuriki of One-tail Shoha, who is blessed. Funfu, he has been imprisoned because of his identity as Jinchuriki since his birth, and even his real name has been forgotten, and he is called Sho-craned by the name of the tailed beast in his body. However, Funfu, as Jinchuriki, brainwashed One-tail Shizuru for a long time, saying that as long as they can sincerely accept each other, there is no difference between humans and tailed beasts. Later, he really succeeded and became friends with Shoha. Moreover, thanks to his clear mentality, Shikaku praised his qualities as similar to Sage of Six Paths. Therefore, Funfu has been recognized by One-tail Shoha, and he can use the power of One-tail Shoha for his own use. That's why Chiyo dared to send their village's Jinchuriki into battle. At this time, Funfu's hands with the words heart and Sho written respectively merged his palms together and sat cross-legged in the body of One-tail Shoha with his eyes closed. Although this will cause killing, but oh, there's no way to do that. As a Sunagakure person, as long as it is for the sake of the village, as long as it is what Chiyo-sama tells me, I will do it no matter what. As for the killings caused now, I can only use the rest of my life to make up for it. The monk Funfu, who was sitting cross-legged with his hands together and eyes closed, expressed both guilt and determination in his words. Funfu, you are still too kind. Hearing Funfu's words, One-tail said, besides, Konoha village is not a good thing, and that fox, they don't deserve your mercy at all. Having said that, One-tail Shikaku said in a somewhat unhappy tone, as if he remembered some bad memory. At this time, Konoha Base Camp is there. Tsunade, who sits at Konoha Base Camp, rushed to the scene as soon as One-Tail Morizuru appeared. When Tsunade saw that Konoha Base Camp was destroyed by One-Tail Morizuru, she immediately clenched her silver teeth. Damn it. Sunagakure, I didn't expect you to still have this hand. Sunagakure suddenly dispatched Jinchuriki to attack their Konoha Base Camp. Neither Tsunade nor Orochimaru expected it. Tsunade and the others still underestimated Sunagakure and Chiyo's madness. Medical class, hurry up and support. Also, tell all personnel to retreat in an orderly manner. The enemy is One-Tail Shikaku. It's not something you can handle. At this time, Tsunade, who was sitting at Konoha Base Camp, quickly organized personnel and directed the release of countermeasures. Yes, Tsunade-sama. Yes, Tsunade-sama. After finishing the arrangement, Tsunade raised his head and looked at the One-Tail Morizuru not far away. At this moment, Tsunade's eyes flashed a bit of hesitation, a bit of struggle. Now, the most correct thing for her to do is to quickly go to stop One-Tail Shikaku and prevent it from continuing to destroy. Moreover, with Tsunade's strength, she can still subdue One-Tail Morizuru. However, Tsunade wanted to stop One-Tail Shikaku, but her fear of blood made her unable to fight. Thinking of this, Tsunade hesitated. Standing in the same place and hesitating, go back to Kyosuke. Kyosuke, who had already got rid of Yitsong, quickly headed towards the Konoha Base Camp. Boom. Before Kyosuke approached Konoha Base Camp, there was another loud noise, followed by a violent shockwave. This power. Kyosuke looked towards Konoha Base Camp, and the huge figure of One-Tail Shikuru could be seen more clearly now. Seeing this, Kyosuke's eyes were solemn. One-Tail Shikaku, for today's Kyosuke, is undoubtedly a super formidable opponent. Its strength has definitely reached the level of Kage level. So, even if Kyosuke got there, he wasn't sure he could handle it. If it's Tsunade, he can subdue One-Tail Morizuru. However, Kyosuke doesn't have any hope for Tsunade at all. After all, One-Tail Shoha had already started to act recklessly at Konoha Base Camp, but no one had come out to stop it. Therefore, Kyosuke concluded that Tsunade, who suffers from hyperphobia, must be unreliable. As for Orochimaru and Namikaze Minato on the front line, they are capable of stopping One-Tail Morizuru. However, now Orochimaru is holding the mother-in-law Chiyo, and Namikaze Minato is fighting with Luosha. Therefore, it is impossible for Orochimaru and Namikaze Minato to come and stop One-Tail Morizuru. Orochimaru, Tsunade, Namikaze Minato, they have Kage-level strength, but now for various reasons, there is no way to subdue One-Tail Morizuru. And if the One-Tail Morizuru is left alone, it will start to benefit Konoha's side, and it will inevitably fall to Sunagakure again. This situation is what Kyosuke does not want 450 to see. It seems that now I can only rely on myself. Kyosuke looked at the giant monster at Konoha Base Camp, One-Tail Morizuru, and said in a low voice, One-Tail Shizuru, it's really troublesome. Orochimaru there. Looking at the behemoth that appeared at Konoha Base Camp, One-Tail Morizuru, Orochimaru was in a bad mood right now. The mother-in-law Chiyo in front of her is very difficult to deal with, and if you add a Jinchuriki, on Konoha's side, it is estimated that no one can come out to stop it. Jinchuriki? Chiyo, I never thought you would dare to send such a monster to the battlefield. Orochimaru stared at Granny Chiyo with a gloomy gaze, and mother-in-law Chiyo, at this time, her old face finally showed a long-lost smile. That movement, it seems that the blessing has succeeded. Well, everything went smoothly according to her plan. Orochimaru, since you and Tsunade can think of the supplies to attack our Sunagakure, we can also attack your Konoha Base Camp. 99. The smile on Grandma Chiyo's face was like a blooming chrysanthemum. In this battle with you Konoha, we Sunagakure are sure to win, Granny Chiyo said to Orochimaru with a firm look on her face. Chiyo, you seem overconfident. 35. Although at this time, Orochimaru was upset that One-Tail Morizuru attacked Konoha's base camp. However, in the face of Chiyo, Orochimaru maintained his due calmness. Now, he is holding back the mother-in-law Chiyo, and he will definitely not be able to walk away. As for Namikaze Minato's words, thinking of this, Orochimaru's forbidden area looked in the direction of Namikaze Minato. When he saw it, Orochimaru couldn't help feeling a chill. Chapter 115. There, Namikaze Minato and Rosa are fighting hard. Moreover, Luosha turned all the grievances in his heart into motivation, and his shots were often relentless and ruthless. At Namikaze Minato, he had to use the Flying Thunder God technique to subtly defuse the danger. Even so, It could be seen that Namikaze Minato was suppressed by Luosha. Therefore, Namikaze Minato is also unreliable. After seeing this, Orochimaru had no choice but to think to himself, I'm in trouble. Now I can't walk away with Minato and the others. It's impossible to come and support. There are flaws. Just as Orochimaru looked towards Namikaze Minato, his mind was slightly dazed. Chiyo grandmother took the opportunity to control her 10 puppets to attack quickly. Hateful. Orochimaru had to put down his worries and hurriedly dodged a puppet's attack. Call. The sharp ninja knife in the puppet's hand was extremely close to Orochimaru's cheek, and Orochimaru could even feel the coldness of the ninja knife. Orochimaru, what the hell are you doing? 99, get serious for this, uncle. Seeing that Orochimaru suddenly lost his mind and was almost killed by the puppet controlled by Chiyo's mother-in-law, 10,000 snakes roared directly at Orochimaru. In Wancha's view, Orochimaru made a very stupid mistake. In the face of a strong opponent, do you still have the time and mood to be in a daze? Do you think your life is too long? Still impatient? Orochimaru, who managed to dodge the ultimate move, had a gloomy expression on his face. Just now, I was almost beaten by Chiyo. However, Orochimaru also knew that he couldn't stop the one-tail Shikaka now. It's up to you, Tsunade. In his heart, Orochimaru said secretly. As for whether Kyosuke could stop the tail beast, Orochimaru never thought about it. It's not that Orochimaru looks down on Kyosuke's strength, he just thinks that at that level, Kyosuke doesn't have the strength to touch it yet. Soon after, Kyosuke finally arrived at Konoha base camp. However, when he saw the scene in front of him, Kyosuke couldn't help frowning. At this time, Konoha base camp has been destroyed by one-tail Shizuru. Moreover, the wounded can be seen everywhere, and the Konoha medical class is too busy to come here. Without the main force standing in the way of one-tail Shoha, it would destroy even more recklessly. Seeing the big civet cat behind Konoha, still doing something nonsense, Kyosuke's expression became even worse. Beast, I'm going to kill you later. However, the top priority now is to find Tsunade first. After all, Tsunade is based in Konoha base camp, so Kyosuke still needs to find her first. Shoha, this beast, was so noisy, he just didn't know what happened to Lin and whether he hurt her. Kyosuke couldn't help but worry about Rin's safety. Originally, Kyosuke thought that it would be quite safe to leave Lin in the medical class at Konoha base camp. But Kyosuke did not expect that Tsunade would be so ruthless and let the tailed beast attack Konoha base camp directly. Just when Kyosuke was secretly worried about Lin's safety, suddenly, his eyes lit up. Not far ahead, Kyosuke saw Lin's beautiful figure, following the medical team to treat the seriously injured. So, Kyosuke walked over directly. Lin. At this time, Lin was cooperating with her colleagues in the medical class to treat the seriously injured people. When she heard someone calling her, she couldn't help but be stunned. That familiar voice is Kyosuke-kun? Following the direction of the voice, Rin looked over, and Kyosuke's figure appeared in front of Rin's eyes. Kyosuke-kun, why are you here? Seeing Kyosuke, Lin's eyes flashed with surprise. Not only is Kyosuke worried about Rin's safety, but Rin is also worried about Kyosuke, who is fighting on the front line. I can't worry about you, so I came here. Kyosuke walked in front of Rin, then looked down at the wounded. Alas, one arm is missing, which is really miserable. The same cruel scenes are not uncommon in this Konoha base camp. It can be seen that one-tail Shoha is frantically and wantonly destroying here, and its seriousness is deep. Several female medical ninjas who were with Rin saw that Kyosuke was coming, and their eyes could not help flashing light. Black Fong, Uchiha Kyosuke, is not only famous in Sand Shinobi. Similarly, in this Konoha base camp, Kyosuke is also a celebrity. Lin, how is the situation here? 35 Kyosuke asked Lin after looking around. In fact, Kyosuke already knew a little bit, and the situation was a bit bad. Hearing Kyosuke's question, Lin Mei's eyes were filled with worry. She shook her head. It's not very good. We are very busy here, and there are many companions waiting to be rescued. After finishing speaking, Lin couldn't help but look at Konoha behind Konoha, the one-tail Morizuru who was still wanton destruction. The tailed beast, this kind of giant creature that was almost only heard of in rumors, Lin was terrified when she saw it. In fact, most of Konoha's people saw the creature like a tailed beast for the first time, and they were all frightened by the huge body like that. Don't worry, Lin. Everything will be fine. Seeing the look of fear in Lin's eyes, Kyosuke patted Lin's head and said softly, By the way, Rin, do you know where Tsunade is? Kyosuke asked. Konoha base camp is quite large, and it is really not easy to find Tsunade. Master Tsunade? Hearing Kyosuke said to look for Tsunade, Rin couldn't help frowning and said, when one tail appeared before, Tsunade-sama hurriedly arranged and issued an order, and went to the tailed beast. After Rin finished speaking, she pointed out a direction for Kyosuke. So, Kyosuke was a little surprised to hear that Tsunade actually went a one-tail Morizuru. Tsunade, doesn't she suffer from hyperphobia? How could she dare to stop one-tail Shoha? However, at one-tail Shoha, it seems that no one has stopped it so far, so I guess it seems that Tsunade is also unreliable for the most part. Lin, be sure to pay attention to safety. After Kyosuke instructed Rin carefully, he pointed towards Rin in that direction. Now, Kyosuke needs to find Tsunade as soon as possible. Lin looked at Kyosuke's leaving figure, with worry in her beautiful eyes. Kyosuke-kun, you must pay attention to safety too. One-tail Shoha, its huge body like a tower, looking down at the ordinary people on the soles of its feet, how small it seems. Small, like an ant. When ordinary people saw the one-tail Shoha, it seemed so huge that it was impossible to shake it, not even the slightest bit. However, this is only for ordinary people. For Tsunade, who was not far from one-tail Shikaku at this time, it was nothing. 1/10 of the body of the Katsu sage summoned by Tsunade is as big as the one-tail Morizuru. Therefore, one-tail Shikuru's huge and frightening body, which looks like a Gundam to others, is not shocking to Tsunade. However, even though Tsunade had already rushed over, she had been standing there in a daze. Looking at that appearance, there is no intention to stop one-tail Shikaku at all. Instead, Tsunade's heart is now extremely tangled. Are you really going to stop one-tail Shikaku? However, Immediately afterwards, Tsunade thought about the scarlet and extremely dazzling blood if she made a move, and then the wound would bleed. Thinking of this, Tsunade's pupils couldn't help but stare at the boss, and there was a look of fear in his eyes. That kind of fear was the fear of scarlet liquid deep in her memory. So, Tsunade subconsciously wanted to escape. Mama Tsunade, I finally found you. Kyosuke, who had been looking in the direction indicated by Rin, finally saw Tsunade's striking figure. So, Kyosuke stepped forward and called Tsunade unceremoniously. Huh, Uchiha Kyosuke? It's you, kid. 55. The sudden appearance of Kyosuke woke Tsunade, who had been hesitant for a while. As for the name of Aunt Tsunade that Kyosuke mentioned just now, Tsunade didn't pay much attention to her at this time. Why, are you surprised that I came here? Kyosuke shrugged his shoulders and said in a relaxed tone. When Tsunade saw that the person coming was Kyosuke, her tone was a little unkind. You brat, what are you doing here if you don't stay on the front line well? Could it be that you were afraid of death on the front line and wanted to escape? Tsunade didn't know how to get it either. She just got angry subconsciously when she saw Kyosuke. I'm afraid to die on the front line? And run away? Aunt Tsunade, don't make fun of me. Kyosuke spoke to Tsunade with a slightly disdainful tone. Regarding Tsunade's question, Kyosuke didn't bother to explain to her that he didn't know how many sand shinobi he killed himself on the front line, and how many sand shinobi he killed. Aunt Tsunade? At this time, Tsunade finally reflected. In an instant, Tsunade gritted his silver teeth, clenched his fists, and had a big hashtag on his head. Bump. Ah, it hurts. Tsunade, who clenched his silver teeth tightly, clenched his pink fist with lightning speed and slammed hard on Kyosuke's head. Boy, what did you call me just now? 35 yo. This big cow has reacted. Sister Tsunade, you are my sister Tsunade. Sorry for the slip of the tongue. Kyosuke had to apologize with a smile. It's almost there. Hearing Kyosuke's apology, Tsunade rolled his eyes at Kyosuke. However, Kyosuke looked at Tsunade in front of him with a serious face and asked, Sister Tsunade, I want to know, what are you doing? Why is one-tail Shoha destroying recklessly right in front of you, but you are still indifferent? What the hell are you doing? More. Chapter 116. After hearing Kyosuke's repeated questioning, Tsunade hesitated. What can Tsunade say? Explain to Kyosuke that she has hyperphobia and can't move? Even so, this is not a reason for Tsunade to shirk responsibility. Guarding Konoha base camp, protecting Konoha shinobi, and stopping one-tail Morizuru, this is what Tsunade must do. I never thought that I would be taught a lesson by a child. Seeing Kyosuke questioning him in front of him, Tsunade's eyes flashed a bit of complexity. However, Kyosuke's words made Tsunade wake up. Little devil, do I need to ask you to teach me a lesson? Tsunade stared at Kyosuke fiercely and said stubbornly, This woman, Kyosuke was immediately speechless. However, Uchiha Kyosuke, you are a bit right. It was the old lady who didn't do well enough. Having said that, Tsunade turned around and looked at the behemoth not far away, One-Tail Shikaku. With the current situation, she must immediately stop One-Tail Shikaku from continuing to destroy. Otherwise, Konoha will have more casualties. Moreover, this may also greatly affect the entire war situation. Tsunade decides that even if she suffers from hyperphobia, she must try to stop One-Tail Shikaku, even death. Little devil, you shouldn't come here. Don't get in the way. Come to my mother quickly, otherwise, be careful to explain your life here. Tsunade, who had his back to Kyosuke, drove Kyosuke away and said mercilessly, "Oh, that seems a little bit more responsible." Seeing that Tsunade finally made up his mind to overcome his fear and blocked One-Tail Morizuru head-on, Kyosuke glanced at Tsunade in surprise. This is the correct posture that Konoha Sannin should have. My words, don't bother Tsunade-sama. You should take care of yourself, Kyosuke said angrily. Stop chattering, little brat. If you don't want to die, just come to the old lady. 35 Hearing what Kyosuke said, Tsunade turned his head in anger and gave Kyosuke a fierce look. Tsunade had already decided that, no matter what, even if she died, she would have to deal with the One-Tail Morizuru. One-Tail Shoha, it has the strength not weaker than the Kaga-level powerhouse. At that time, when Tsunade and One-Tail Morizuru fight, their power is bound to be amazing. The clashes between Kaga-level powerhouses are not something that a weak ninja like Kyosuke can watch. Tsunade thinks that Kyosuke is only average. Maybe, Kyosuke may be affected by that time. Injury is a trivial matter. If you are unlucky, you accidentally put your own life here, which is a tragedy. Although Tsunade doesn't know why, every time he sees Kyosuke's handsome face, he subconsciously gets angry. However, Tsunade still didn't want Kyosuke to have an accident. Tsunade's attitude towards Kyosuke is very special and tangled. Don't worry, I still plan to marry a few wives in the future. It's impossible to just hang up. 35 Kyosuke shrugged his shoulders and shook his head in disapproval. How many wives to marry? Tsunade, this little devil is really much worse than Jiraiya. Completely useless. Tsunade took a deep breath. Now that Kyosuke is so clueless, Tsunade doesn't continue to good words. Even, Tsunade cursed Kyosuke fiercely in his heart. Humph. If you don't accept the love of the old lady, then you will die for the old lady. Better dead. From now on, the old lady will not be upset every time she sees you. This kid, Tsunade, who had decided not to pay too much attention to Kyosuke, stared solemnly at One-Tail Morizuru not far away. That's a powerful tailed beast. Even if Tsunade is a Kaga-level powerhouse, he wouldn't dare to care about it. However, Tsunade has come to his senses. Even if she dies, she must stop it. At this time, Kyosuke, who was behind Tsunade, looked at Tsunade with her perfect silhouette, and she wanted to face the One-Tail Morizuru. Sure enough, Kyosuke still couldn't stand it. CHFB, Kyosuke shook his head involuntarily. This matter, it seems that he has to come forward to deal with it. Besides, it was unrealistic for Kyosuke to ask a woman with hyperphobia to stop the tailed beast. Also, Kyosuke despised himself a little bit by doing so. Tsunade, she was hyperphobic and couldn't do it. Kyosuke, he could understand. The reason why Kyosuke kept questioning Tsunade just now was because he was a little dissatisfied with Tsunade, who was sitting at Konoha base camp when he saw One-Tail Morizuru wantonly destroying, but he didn't come forward in time to stop him. Well, forget it, Tsunade. Leave this tailed beast to me. Kyosuke sighed and said to Tsunade, who was trying to face One-Tail Morizuru alone. Hearing Kyosuke's words, Tsunade had a look of disdain on his face. Just you, a genin who just graduated from ninja school, come and go against One-Tail Morizuru? Are you kidding me? You are afraid that you don't know how terrifying the monster is. Really ignorant and fearless. Uchiha Kyosuke, I don't have time to take care of you now, so get out of here. Hearing Kyosuke's wild words, Tsunade reprimanded with a frown. Tsunade thought he was joking with her? Kyosuke was speechless. If it wasn't for the lottery, Kyosuke would have cherished his life in the face of monsters like tailed beasts, shunned it, and walked as far as he could. However, now Kyosuke has a crucial whole card in his hand. Perfect Quality Ultimate Potion. Perfect Quality Ultimate Potion. Immediately after injection, 40% of his lost health will be restored. After that, 14% of his own maximum health will be restored every second, and he will gain 50% of the acceleration effect and 14% of his own health and attack power for 20 seconds. Now is the time to use it. Also, Kyosuke wanted to try that trick. I also want to challenge my own limits. Presumably, if he survives, then Kyosuke's strength will definitely rise to the next level. Risks often coexist with opportunities. If you don't pay, how will you pay back? Kyosuke didn't care about Tsunade's contempt. He just ignored it and started to act. 8 inner gates. The first gate is open, open. The second gate is closed, open. The third gate, shaman, come. The fourth gate is injured, open. Soon, Kyosuke's body surged with momentum, and the momentum was amazing. This amazing momentum. With her back to Kyosuke, Tsunade quickly noticed the amazing change in Kyosuke behind her. Before, Kyosuke gave Tsunade a very normal feeling. Nothing changed. However, in just a few breaths, Kyosuke exuded an astonishing momentum. Chapter 117. And, to Tsunade's surprise, she sensed the aura of Kyosuke, which kept rising. Kyosuke's own power, which Tsunade can perceive with unparalleled clarity, is constantly getting stronger. This kid, what is he doing? The shocked Tsunade suddenly turned around again. What caught her eyes was that Kyosuke's body began to turn red, and green-colored energy radiated from his body. Seeing Kyosuke like this, Tsunade couldn't help but widen his eyes. As Tsunade of the medical ninja, she knew that Kyosuke must have used some kind of forbidden technique, forcibly opening the prison in his body, in order to gain short-term superpower. However, if you use this type of forbidden technique, it is often at the expense of a great loss of your body. Even, some will lose precious vitality. Moreover, this type of forbidden technique of Kyosuke, Tsunade sees it, she has a kind of familiar feeling. Tsunade felt that she should have recognized the forbidden technique used by Kyosuke. Among the Senju family, there are many recorded ninjutsu forbidden techniques. In particular, second Hokage, Senju Tobirama, who is good at developing ninjutsu and forbidden technique, has studied a lot of forbidden technique and recorded them in the Senju family. And Tsunade, as the princess of the Senju clan, naturally got to know these things. But Tsunade couldn't remember which forbidden technique Kyosuke used. The 8 inner gates hit the 4th gate, injury gate, which was as far as Kyosuke's body could handle. Because, if Kyosuke continues to open it, it will inevitably cause huge damage to his body. However, Kyosuke is not so naive to think that he can stop the one-tail Shikaku by opening the 4th gate. His current strength is far from enough. 8 inner gates, 5th gate, Duman, open. As Kyosuke's voice fell, he suddenly felt a sharp pain in his entire body. Even, Kyosuke could feel his muscles twitching uncontrollably in many parts of his body. Rao is Kyosuke. He has never ceased to temper his body and sharpen his will. Now his physique has become so strong that ordinary people cannot match it. However, the overwhelming load on the body caused by forcibly opening the 5th gate of the 8 inner gates, the pain, still caused Kyosuke to snort uncontrollably. This kind of feeling, Kyosuke had only experienced it when he opened the first-order genetic lock before. However, it is not enough to open the 5th gate of 8 inner gates. 8 inner gates continue to open. Doman? When Tsunade heard that, she was subconsciously stunned. As a medical ninja, Tsunade knows that Doman is one of the meridian systems in the human body that controls and suppresses chakra in the body. In the human meridian system, there are 8 gates, which are generally closed and cannot be opened. Could it be that the forbidden technique used by Kyosuke is to forcibly break through the veins of the human body and lift the body's restrictions on chakra, so as to gain powerful strength? 8 gate. Release the body's state of restriction on chakra? Thinking of this, Tsunade's face turned pale involuntarily. Uchiha Kyosuke, this kid. Is he dying? At this time, Tsunade remembered that she knew the forbidden technique used by Kyosuke, which is 8 inner gates. It is rumored that when the 8 gates of the human body's meridians are all opened, they will enter a state of terror called 8 inner gates formation. In that state, the user can instantly gain 10 times the power over the 5 shadows. However, once you enter that state, you are bound to die from burning out your life force. Tsunade knew that Kyosuke was definitely planning to use the 8 inner gates to forcibly gain short-term power to subdue the one-tail Morizuru in front of him. But how old is Kyosuke now? Is he in good shape? Although Tsunade is not very clear, she knows that if she wants to practice the forbidden technique of 8 inner gates, she has extremely strict requirements on her physique. At Kyosuke's age, his physique must not be tempered enough. If you forcibly open 8 inner gates, don't say whether you can open the last gate, the dead gate. I am afraid that, before Kyosuke could forcibly open a few doors of the 8 inner gates, his body at that age could no longer bear the overload, could not bear the huge amount of physical energy consumed and immediately exploded and died. Are you dying? Uchiha Kyosuke, stop this old lady. Seeing Kyosuke, whose body was flushed red and the muscles on his face gradually twitched and contorted, Tsunade hurriedly stopped. At this point, even though Kyosuke was in terrible pain in every part of his body, he forced himself to let out a little smile. Flowers. Why, if I don't do this, do I really expect you, who faints when you see blood, to come to the rescue? Aunt Tsunade. At this time, Kyosuke was no longer afraid of getting mad at Tsunade and called out to Tsunade directly to his aunt. Kyosuke couldn't believe it. He was like this. Tsunade dared to attack him. Sure enough, Tsunade didn't get angry when he heard Kyosuke calling her that, but looked at Kyosuke in surprise. You? How do you know I have hyperphobia? 35 Tsunade suffers from hyperphobia, and only Orochimaru and Jiraiya know about it. To Tsunade's surprise, she didn't expect Kyosuke to know. Why? Is it weird that I know you have hyperphobia? Kyosuke forced the corners of his mouth and smiled. Orochimaru told you. Tsunade looked down at Kyosuke in front of him. Point 0 Orochimaru? Kyosuke shook his head involuntarily. Although Orochimaru was his chief teacher, their master-apprentice relationship was not good enough to talk about the 8 trigrams. Regarding Tsunade's question, Kyosuke didn't give any explanation. Instead, his heart sank, and he continued with gritted teeth. The 6th gate of the 8 inner gates, the King's Gate, opened. Suddenly, a feeling that was several times more painful than before exploded in Kyosuke's entire body. I saw that Kyosuke's whole body was gradually cracked, and scarlet blood was coming out of it. Seeing this scene, Tsunade's beautiful eyes were the boss who couldn't help staring, and at the same time, her eyes were full of fear. At this moment, Tsunade's body began to tremble. His eyes were lost, and he murmured in a low voice, "Ah, it's blood, blood, blood." At this moment, Tsunade saw the blood that kept coming out of Kyosuke, and she seemed to be in a sea of blood. Her own younger brother, Shinju Nawaki, died horribly. Also, the scene where her boyfriend, Kaido-dan, was bloodied and unwilling to die. These tragic and bloody scenes, which had been subconsciously sealed in the deepest part of her mind by Tsunade, appeared in her mind extremely clearly at this moment. Blood bloody? All this mercilessly stimulated Tsunade, who had already been trembling in a daze and overwhelmed. As a result, Tsunade, who had 6 gods and no masters, slumped directly to the ground. Chapter 118. At this moment, Kyosuke was struggling to endure it, and the unbearable severe pain continued to come from his entire body. Now, the unbearable severe pain is literally killing him. Kyosuke only moved a little, and he was already dying of pain. As for Tsunade, who was slumped to the ground, Kyosuke didn't even care about her. Now that he is too busy to take care of himself, how can he still have the energy to take care of this unreliable old woman in front of him? The severe pain in the whole body constantly challenged Kyosuke's enduring limit. Still, not enough. It's not enough. Kyosuke knew that if he wanted to stop the one-tail Shikaku, it was not enough to turn on the 6th gate state. Strength. He still needs more powerful strength. At this time, Kyosuke was already bleeding all over his body and almost became a blood man, and he couldn't control that much. Beijing 450 introduced him to know that if he continued, he might really die. However, Kyosuke had already made up his mind, and he couldn't care less. Kyosuke endured the monstrous pain in his body with great perseverance, and then his heart slammed, and he directly forcibly opened the prison in his body. The 7th gate of 8 inner gates, startled, come. Astonishment is the last gate before the death gate of 8 inner gates. As soon as Kyosuke opened the shocking door in the meridian, his entire body suddenly burst out without warning, a shocking and terrifying aura like an ancient beast. At this time, the scarlet blood on Kyosuke's body disappeared, and instead, his body began to emit blue steam. The terrifying aura exuding from Kyosuke's body, like an ancient giant beast, directly alerted the one-tailed Shokaku, who was still wanton destruction not far away. At this moment, one-tailed Shoha was extremely keenly aware that not far behind it, there was a very frightening aura that suddenly appeared without warning. It's like, without Shoha's knowledge, a terribly sharp stabbing blade has already been aimed at it. So, one-tailed Shoha immediately withdrew the offensive, stopped the destruction, and with extreme fear, quickly withdrew with its short legs. Shoha, what's wrong with you? In the body of one-tailed Shoha, The ascetic, who was cross-legged and his hands joined together to share the blessings, asked in a puzzled way. Although he is the Jinchuriki of one-tail Shikaku, his strength is far less than that of one-tail Shikaku, and he cannot perceive the terrifying aura of Kyosuke. Fanfu, we have to be careful. I felt a very strong aura just now. Although I don't know who the other party is, he feels very dangerous to me. One-tail Shoha quickly dodged and fled, while facing the blessing path. Danger? When Fanfu heard this, he couldn't help but be shocked. It's not clear what the other party's background is, and it already makes one-tail feel dangerous. The opponent's strength is definitely not weaker than the Kaga-level powerhouse. Even, it may be much stronger than the Kaga-level powerhouse. After Shoha felt that it had opened a safe distance, it stopped and turned around, with vigilance in its eyes, watching the direction where it sensed the extremely dangerous aura just now. One-tail Shikaku's eyesight and perception are very good. Therefore, it quickly saw that the aura that suddenly made it shudder, like a wild beast, actually came from a child. No, to be precise, it was from a strange little boy with blue steam all over his body. As for Kyosuke's side, Tsunade Haim, who fell to the ground just now, was scared by Kyosuke's blood, and one-tail Shikaku directly ignored it. Nanny? As a tailed beast, Shikaku, an existence feared by everyone in the ninja world, did not expect to be frightened by a child today. Even though, one-tail Shoha could still sense that the child whose whole body was exuding blue steam was definitely not to be underestimated. However, one-tail Shoha couldn't hold his face anymore. It felt that its reaction just now was too much, and it was a bit of a fuss. The dignified one-tail beast was frightened by a child and immediately dodged to the side. If the stinky fox found out about it, it would inevitably be ridiculed by it. At this moment, one-tail Shoha thought to himself. So, it felt a little uncomfortable. In this case, one-tail Shoha felt that it had to be found. Shoha, are you talking about that kid with blue steam on his body? Jinchuriki, who was in the body of one-tail Shikaku, was a little surprised when he saw that the person Shikaku mentioned was actually Kyosuke. Is that the weird kid who one-tail Shikaku thinks is a great threat? Although, people can't be seen. The ninja world is full of wonders, and it is not possible to judge whether the opponent is strong or not based on appearance alone. However, Fanfu looked at Kyosuke and felt a little surprised. Hearing his partner's words, one-tail Shikaku's face became even more unbearable. Damn little devil. Jing will scare people. Give me death. In his heart, one-tail Shoha roared angrily. Immediately afterwards, its mouth opened in the direction of Kyosuke, the boss. Wind style, practice empty bombs. 35 The huge wind ball containing a large amount of chakra was spit out directly from the mouth of one-tail Shikaku, and its power was powerful and the speed was amazing, and it shot towards Kyosuke at a high speed. At this time, Kyosuke, whose entire body was enveloped in blue steam, was opening the 7th gate of the 8 inner gates. Before he could fully appreciate the state of the 7th gate of the 8 inner gates, he suddenly sensed a huge wind ball very keenly, and it was coming towards him quickly. Without thinking too much, Kyosuke knew that this must be a good thing for one-tail Morizuru. This beast. In his heart, Kyosuke cursed to himself. Immediately after, Kyosuke picked up Tsunade, who was still in a state of absent-mindedness, and sat limply on the ground, and quickly avoided him. Boom. The huge wind ball carrying a lot of chakra exploded directly at the position of Kyosuke and Tsunade. Countless towering giant trees were directly bombed to the ground to become sawdust residues. The soil on the ground splashed high, and the ground surface was exploded into a giant crater. The other side. Kyosuke resisted the severe pain and quickly hugged Tsunade, who was in a state of absent-mindedness, evading one-tail Morizuru's wind-style practice blank attack. 9 Although, in the state of the 7th gate of the 8 inner gates, Kyosuke dodged and came to the wind style to practice empty bombs, which was extremely simple. Even, Kyosuke can clearly see the trajectory of the wind style 5.1 air bomb. However, in this state, the load on Kyosuke was extremely heavy, and he couldn't maintain it for long. If it weren't for the emergency situation just now, and the safety of his and Tsunade's life, Kyosuke would not even be able to do anything while opening the 7th gate of the 8 inner gates. So, just now, Kyosuke was carrying Tsunade to avoid the attack of one-tail Morizuru, which had exhausted Kyosuke almost of his strength. Although he is still in the state of the 7th gate of the 8 inner gates, he can only barely maintain this state, but he has no power to do anything. Once Kyosuke is released from this state, Kyosuke knows that he will die immediately. The 7th gate state of the 8 inner gates is not something that Kyosuke can open today. Fortunately, Kyosuke still has a whole card. Perfect quality ultimate potion. It's time for it to come in handy. Chapter 119. At this point, Kyosuke was in a very bad state. Therefore, he must use the perfect quality limit potion as soon as possible. Kyosuke looked at Tsunade, who was in his arms, and muttered absent-mindedly. Kyosuke never thought about asking this old woman to help him at this critical time. It seems that this injection still has to be done by myself. This woman Tsunade. Looking at Tsunade in his arms, Kyosuke raised Tsunade's jaw in frustration. Hey, are you alright? Tsunade? Master Tsunade? Mama Tsunade? No response. Then, Kyosuke patted Tsunade's cheek. Got it. Still in a state of daze. Seeing this, Kyosuke was dumbfounded. Before, Tsunade also said to let Kyosuke leave quickly, saying that Kyosuke would only get in the way here. It's good now. This woman has become a burden to Kyosuke. No, I just saved this woman after all my life. I just need to get some reward from her. To suffer, Kyosuke will never suffer. So, Kyosuke set his eyes on Tsunade's beautiful face. It has to be said that although Tsunade is now in his 30s as 27, however, the passage of time has made her more and more mature and attractive. Kyosuke remembers that the old woman Tsunade and her long-dead boyfriend Kaido-dan seem to have a very pure relationship. There is something between them, similar to the platonic love at the spiritual level. I don't seem to be at a loss for saving you, this woman, and taking away your first kiss. After patting Tsunade's cheek, Kyosuke raised Tsunade's chin and muttered while watching Tsunade. Now in this situation, he doesn't have much time, so he won't drag it on. So, Kyosuke was not ambiguous and went straight to it. Warm, sweet, soft. Kyosuke thinks that the taste is very good. 5-star review. As for Tsunade, her beautiful eyes are still lost, and she still doesn't seem to notice. After just tasting it, Kyosuke put Tsunade down and put her in a safer place. Now, Kyosuke is about to officially enter the subject. Otherwise, if he continues to delay like this, he will be miserable. So, Kyosuke took the scroll sealed with the perfect quality limit potion out of the ninja bag. Looking at the seal scroll, Kyosuke smiled wryly. Before, he thought that this thing, as one of his important cards, would not come in handy so quickly. But the plan can never keep up with the changes. Kyosuke just picked it up, and he hasn't saved it for a while, so he's about to use it. A perfect quality limit potion. This thing is equivalent to a life-sustaining fetish. Soon, Kyosuke took out this blue perfect quality limit potion. Then, without hesitation, Kyosuke injected the perfect quality limit medicine into his body. 1 second ago, Kyosuke's physical condition was extremely bad. Even, he could clearly feel that his own vitality was passing quickly. Moreover, under the constant overdraft, his physique was severely damaged. However, the moment Kyosuke injected the perfect quality limit medicine into his body, Kyosuke felt as if he had come back to life again. Perfect quality ultimate potion. Immediately after injection, 40% of his lost health will be restored. After that, 14% of his own maximum health will be restored every second, and he will gain 50% of the acceleration effect and 14% of his own health and attack power for 20 seconds. Sure enough, this perfect quality limit potion did not disappoint Kyosuke. The 8 inner gates forcibly opened to the 7th gate. To be honest, in this state, Kyosuke was already sentenced to death. However, now he is equal to resurrection. Perfect quality limit potion. Immediately recover 40% of your own health after injection. The effect of this pervert directly made Kyosuke out of death. Not to mention, he will recover 14% of his maximum health every second. Now, Kyosuke is directly immune to the overloading effects on his body after the opening of the 8 inner gates to the 7th gate. At this moment, Kyosuke feels that this is the most powerful time he has ever been. One-tail Shoha, now in his opinion, is not worth mentioning at all. The whole body is full of powerful strength, and Kyosuke even thinks that, facing the one-tail Shikaku, he will fight 10. However, Kyosuke also knew that from the moment he injected the perfect quality limit potion, he only had 20 seconds left. In these 20 seconds, Kyosuke must kill the big trouble in front of him with one-tail Morizuru. Otherwise, all he did was in vain. Even if you don't solve one-tail Shikaku, waiting for Kyosuke will be a dead end. Now, Kyosuke he only has 20 seconds. For a second, Kyosuke he couldn't waste it. At this moment, Kyosuke, whose whole body was exuding blue steam, stared straight in the direction of one-tail Shikaku with a cold light. Kyosuke's icy eyes shot straight at him, and one-tail Morizuru also noticed. In an instant, One-Tail Shoha had a creepy feeling of being stared at by an ancient giant beast. Just a child, but on him, One-Tail Shoha felt a great threat. That boy. One-Tail Shoha restrained his contempt and began to get serious. However, next, One-Tail Shoha's huge pupil shrank suddenly, disappeared. So fast. That kid is so fast. At Kyosuke, the moment One-Tail Morizuru noticed Kyosuke's gaze, Kyosuke had already started. Shave. Now, Kyosuke is in the state of the 8 inner gates opening the 7th gate, plus the 50% acceleration effect given by the perfect quality limit potion, and the 14% attack power of his own health. So, at this moment, Kyosuke's speed directly burst the air. When One-Tail Shikaku was shocked by the speed of Kyosuke, it suddenly heard Kyosuke's roar from below his head. Profound truth, Shadow Dance Leaf. Not allowing One-Tail Shoha to react, it only felt that a huge impact force of incomparable 450 suddenly came from its lower jaw. The impact is so powerful that the One-Tail Shoha's gigantic body is directly sent into the air by the impact. The huge impact force, accompanied by One-Tail Shoha, felt the huge pain in its jaw. 35 After receiving such a heavy blow, One-Tail Shikaku couldn't help crying out in pain. At the same time, it was also stunned. How is this possible? How can that be? The One-Tail Shikaku, who was directly hit in the air by this huge impact, still can't believe that it was actually kicked away by a human child. With just one kick, Kyosuke kicked One-Tail Morizuru into the air. Because One-Tail Shikaku's body is really huge, it is very conspicuous. Therefore, Kyosuke kicked the One-Tail Shikuru in the mid-air of the battlefield, and that scene fell directly into the eyes of the vast majority of Konoha shinobi and Sand shinobi. Ugh, what is that? Oh my god. In the wood industry base camp, a female medical ninja is working hard with her companions to treat the wounded. Suddenly, she felt that the sunlight above the sky disappeared and was instantly shrouded in a shadow. When the female medical ninja inadvertently raised her head and looked up, she was stunned. What did she see? Just now, the mighty weapon of war that was still in the back of Konoha base camp and scrupulously destroying everything, One-Tail Shikaku. At this moment, the tragic state of One-Tail Shoha seems to have been shot into the air by someone. Chapter 120. You know, it's a tailed beast. Although Shoha is a one-tailed beast, it is the last in strength among the 9-tailed beasts. However, this cannot deny the power of One-Tail Shikaku. Great. It seems that Tsunade-sama stopped One-Tail. Kill the One-Tail Morizuru. As expected of Mr. Tsunade. Many Konoha shinobi fighters in Konoha base camp were full of excitement when they saw the One-Tail Sho crane being knocked into the air. At this moment, they all subconsciously believed that it was Tsunade who had beaten One-Tail Morizuru. After all, Tsunade went to stop One-Tail Morizuru. They knew it. However, it didn't take long for the Konoha shinobi to be excited, and then they saw an extremely shocking scene. Kyosuke there. Kyosuke, who was injected with the ultimate potion of perfect quality, and the 8 inner gates opened the 7th gate, couldn't waste every second of his time. Profound truth Shadow Dance just kicked the One-Tail Shoha into a daze. Immediately afterwards, Kyosuke rose into the air following the huge body of Morizuru One-Tail. Afterwards, Kyosuke, whose whole body was exuding blue steam, tightened his whole body and clenched his fists tightly, armed, hardened. Kyosuke felt a steady stream of powerful power coming from his clenched fist. That kind of power seems to have no limit. At this time, Kyosuke's body, while controlling this infinitely powerful force, also bears a corresponding superload. His skin was constantly chapped, and the bright red blood seemed to spew out like a fountain in the next moment. However, the effect of the perfect quality limit potion, which restores 14% of his maximum health per second, is also rapidly restoring the overloaded Kyosuke's body. However, it was barely able to maintain Kyosuke's body. If Kyosuke's super strength shot, then it is bound to be an overdraft that can't make ends meet. However, Kyosuke can't handle that much anymore. Soon, Kyosuke's fist covered by armament haki slammed hard on the back of One-Tail Morizuru. At this moment, Kyosuke's punch came out, and the air seemed to be rippling. Immediately afterwards, there was a burst of air bursting. Rumble. 8 inner gates opens the state of the 7th gate. The blessing of armament haki, plus the effects of the perfect quality ultimate elixir. Gain 14% of your own health and attack power. With these blessings, the power of Kyosuke's punch, its terrifying level can be imagined. Woo. One-Tail Shikaku, who was knocked into the air by Kyosuke's previous shadow dance, was still in a state of dizziness and pain. Now, it felt a blow in the back that was even more terrifying than before. So, One-Tail Shoha immediately let out another wailing. With Kyosuke's heavy punch, One-Tail Morizuru, who was still in midair, fell into a deep sleep. I saw One-Tail Shikaku's huge body, falling straight and quickly. Boom, boom, 55 boom, 95 at this moment, the earth shook unceasingly. It's loud. Amazing. No, it's not. At this moment, the Konoha female medical ninja just now was full of shock and couldn't believe it. First, the One-Tail Shoha was knocked into the air, and now it was slammed down again. This? So amazing. Really great. Tsunade-sama is indeed the hero of the village. At this moment, Tsunade's lofty position in the heart of this Konoha female medical ninja has risen sharply again. Likewise, the Konoha shinobi who were present all raised a fanatical adoration for Tsunade, and the Sand shinobi who followed Funfu to attack Konoha base camp saw the war weapon-tailed beasts in their village, and they were easily beaten by others, all with gloomy expressions on their faces. Shoha, are you alright? One-Tail Shoha's Jinchuriki, sharing the blessing, shouted worriedly in Shoha's body at this time. The appearance of Funfu now has long since lost the contradictory kindness of the eminent monk who could not bear to kill just now, but had to pick up the butcher's knife. Funfu's call was quickly answered by One-Tail Shoha. It hurts. It really hurts me. 35 Hearing the voice of One-Tail Shoha, Funfu was also relieved. If One-Tail Morizuru was really defeated by Kyosuke like this, how could he accomplish the task Chio gave him? At this time, a huge pit appeared on the ground. In the crater, it was One-Tail Shukaku, who was smashed to the ground by Kyosuke's punch. Being beaten up and down like this by Kyosuke, One-Tail Morizuru was very uncomfortable. However, fortunately, it has a rough skin and thick meat, and it looks all right. Just a small injury. Damn it. 95 One-Tail Shikuru stood up and looked at Kyosuke, who was still in the sky with a sullen look in his eyes. It's a majestic one-tailed beast. How has it ever been hanged and beaten like this? Humiliation. What a shame. Although, Kyosuke in front of him is really strong. However, One-Tail Shikaku already regarded Kyosuke as immortal. No matter how good Kyosuke is, it will kill him today. You know, even in the face of that hateful fox, Nine-Tails, Kurama, and One-Tail Shizuru all dared to be tough with it. What's more, it's the human boy in front of him. Shoha, this person is really powerful. We have to be careful, One-Tail said with a solemn expression, guarding the blessings in Crane's body. Originally, Funfu thought that most of the main force of Konoha Base Camp had already arrived at the front line. Then, destroying Konoha Base Camp is not a sure thing. The biggest accident was that he was blocked by another Konoha Sannin, Senju Tsunade. If it is facing Tsunade's obstruction, Funfu is also sure to complete the task that Chio gave him to attack and destroy Konoha Base Camp. However, the sudden appearance of a variable at this time made Funfu have to worry. The Kyosuke in front of him has the strength not weaker than the One-Tail Shizuru, if is Li Hao, plus Tsunade who has not yet shot. Thinking of this, the worry in Funfu's eyes became even more intense. He didn't know why Tsunade didn't make a move at this time. Little did he know that Tsunade suffered from hyperphobia. However, this situation is already extremely unfavorable for their Sunagakure side. Funfu's reminder was originally well-intentioned, but it angered the arrogant One-Tail Shoha. This nasty guy must kill him. I want to see how he can dodge my attack now. 99 After One-Tail Shoha finished speaking, its belly was bulging. It opened its bloody mouth and aimed at Kyosuke in the midair, and then slapped its belly. Wind style, practice empty bombs. A larger chakra wind ball than before, shot at Kyosuke aggressively and quickly. At this time, Kyosuke, who was suspended in midair, had no point of focus and was completely a living target. Chapter 121. Go to hell. At this moment, One-Tail Shoha's face was full of anger. A huge wind ball filled with a huge amount of wind attribute chakra blasted towards Kyosuke from the mouth of One-Tail Shikaku. However, Kyosuke, who was suspended in midair, saw this with disdain in his eyes. Speaking of which, although One-Tail Shoha is a powerful-tailed beast, his attacking moves are a bit shabby, always the same wind-style learning air bomb that 10,000 years does not change. Although, wind style, training empty bombs, although the power of this move is very large, on the battlefield, the destructive power and lethality are also amazing. However, for Kyosuke, this is a bit ridiculous. In the face of the wind style, the unavoidable Kyosuke, who was about to slay the wind style, training empty bombs, he took it directly from the front, armed hardening, flowing water rock shattering fist. Kyosuke's face showed contempt as he looked at the typhoon that was carrying a huge amount of chakra. I saw that he clenched his fists with both hands without fear and slammed it directly. The dark blue sparring appeared on Kyosuke's armament, haki-covered fist. Following Kyosuke's punch, in an instant, the dark blue spree spread out. Boom! In the air, there was a loud noise, like a thunderbolt on a sunny day. With one punch from Kyosuke, nearly half of the wind style, the power of the empty bullets, has been shattered. Immediately afterwards, Kyosuke threw another punch. In the same way, the dark blue horses were shining brightly in the mid-air, followed by a loud noise like thunder. Boom 453. At this moment, in this small area, it seems that the world has changed color. One-tail Morizuru's super wind style empty bomb was blown away by Kyosuke's two punches. Below Kyosuke, one-tail Shikaka saw his move, and was so easily resolved by Kyosuke's two punches, his huge yellow pupil shrunk slightly. Is it so easy to crack? How can that be? One-tail Shoha really never imagined that this human kid in front of him would be so outrageous. Looking at Kyosuke's way of dissolving his wind style, practice air bombs, it is clearly done by pure physical skills. Just pure physique. It has so much power. Shoha has never met before, but humans can use physical skills to such a pervert level. Could it be that this kid is a monster? Tancat, don't you have only this ability? Kyosuke, who blasted away the one-tail Shikaku attack, directly, CHFB, directed the one-tail Shikaku's way below. Civic Cat? Hearing that Kyosuke called it a tanuki, one-tail Shikaku was immediately angry, and it hated others calling it a tanuki the most. Immediately afterwards, Kyosuke, who was in mid-air, continued provocatively saying, "It is rumored that the strength of a tailed beast is judged by its number. Sure enough, Civic Cats, you are still too weak with one tail." The arrogant one-tail Shikaku was suddenly angry with Kyosuke's words. It is one-tail Shikuru. How can I tolerate Kyosuke belittling it so much? Showa can't swallow this breath. However, just when one-tail Shikaku wanted to fight back, Kyosuke, who was still in midair, attacked again. The Civic Cat, eat me? To the peacock. Toward the peacock is an advanced physical technique that can be used after the 8 inner gates opens the 6th gate, the King's Gate. I saw that Kyosuke kept hitting high-speed straight punches, instantly rubbing against the air and producing flames. And these continuous flames, and then the shock wave formed by hitting the air, quickly shot towards the one-tail show crane below. The steady stream of flames, like a peacock opening its screen, shot a large number of shots at one-tail Shoha. Not good. Seeing a large number of flames flying over, one-tail Shoha couldn't help but change his expression. Although it is a tailed beast with rough skin and thick flesh, it can't resist Kyosuke's fierce attack. Moreover, when one-tail Shoha saw the overwhelming flames, his scalp felt numb for a while. Shoha, hurry up and avoid it. 35 One-tail guards the blessing in Crane's body and said to it anxiously. Seeing the flames that filled the sky and sensing the amazing power in it, Funfu's scalp couldn't help but stand upside down. Is this human power? This is too scary. It's late. I'm afraid it's not in a hurry. At this moment, one-tail Shoha stared blankly at the flames coming towards his face. His face was very aggrieved, and he finally spit out these words. In fact, Kyosuke's burst towards the peacock was so fast that one-tail Shokaku didn't even have time to dodge it. However, soon, one-tail Shikaku will personally come to Kyosuke's power to hit the peacock. How terrifying it is. I saw that the overwhelming flames in the air, like dense meteorites falling from the sky, all smashed on the huge body of one-tail Shoha. What like a meteorite that fell from the sky. The flames continuously bombarded one-tail Shikaku. At the beginning, one-tail Shoha was able to take a few blows abruptly. However, due to the overwhelming flame bombardment, one-tail Shoha couldn't bear it any longer and began to mourn. As a result, behind the Konoha base camp, another shocking scene appeared. I saw that a large number of flames were continuously generated out of thin air in midair and shot fiercely towards one-tail Shikaku. As for the one-tail Shoha, it was obvious that he couldn't withstand this overwhelming attack, and the sound of howls resounded. Soon, under the bombardment of the peacock, one-tail Shoha became a scorching tanuki, and his whole body was enveloped in flames. What the unpleasantness and pain scorched by the flames all over his body constantly impacted One-Tail Shikaku's mind. At the same time, One-Tail Shikaku hated Kyosuke to the extreme. One-Tail Shoha, how has it ever suffered such humiliation? And the blessing in One-Tail Shoha's body is also extremely concerned about Shoha. Although he is in the body of One-Tail Shikaku, he cannot be attacked by Kyosuke towards Peacock. However, thanks to the fact that he and Shoha have been together for many years, the relationship between one person and one beast is naturally very deep. Seeing One-Tail Shoha like this, it is also very uncomfortable for him to share the blessings. Shoha, hold on. You must be okay. However, the one who responded to the blessing was One-Tail Shikaku's continuous and painful screams. What? Under the continuous offensive towards the peacock, the One-Tail Shoha who was flaming all over his body was directly blasted away. In the direction that the blast flew out was the front line of the battle with Sand Shinobi. Although it is said that Kyosuke can let go of his hands and feet now and beat One-Tail Morizuru, however, he was still measured. Stopping One-Tail Shikaku is his main task, but he has to try his best to take care of Konoha's side and minimize the loss. Boom. 66-foot boom. 66-foot boom. The One-Tail Show crane that was blasted out, its behemoth kept retreating and hitting. Wherever he went, there was nothing but a mess. Among them, an incomparably long impact mark was created. At a glance, the scale is a bit shocking. At this time, Kyosuke also stopped bombing the peacock. He finally fell from the sky and stood at the top of a towering tree, looking at the direction of One-Tail Shikaku. Chapter 122. Kyosuke's movement here is too big. Not only the Konoha base camp here, it caused a huge sensation. Moreover, it is even more alarming to the front line of the battle between Konoha and Sand Shinobi. Konoha base camp is here. At this time, Konoha Shinobi from Konoha base camp realized that the peacock that was displayed in the air turned out to be Kyosuke. Before, the battle between Kyosuke and Shizuru was scorching hot, and with Kyosuke's fast speed, they only vaguely saw a figure. So, subconsciously, they thought that person was Tsunade. After all, Tsunade-sama is one of Konoha's Sannin. But now they noticed that it turned out that the one who defeated One-Tail Morizuru was not Tsunade-sama they thought. Rather, Uchiha Kyosuke, the Black Fangs. Immediately, the Konoha base camp was boiling up. That person is... Oh my god. I didn't expect that the one who defeated One-Tail Morizuru was not Tsunade-sama, but Uchiha Kyosuke. Uchiha Kyosuke defeated One-Tail Morizuru? Impossible. I think it's Tsunade-sama. That's right, after all, it's a war weapon-tailed beast, and only Tsunade-sama has the ability to stop that beast. It's Uchiha Kyosuke's brother. So you guys are joking? Are you all blind just now and didn't see that the man in the sky was Uchiha Kyosuke? Oh, the flame was too dazzling just now. I didn't bet more. I can't go wrong. I can see it clearly. That person is Uchiha Kyosuke. It was Uchiha Kyosuke who defeated One-Tail Morizuru. Uchiha Kyosuke. He is the hero of our Konoha village. Uchiha Kyosuke. Konoha hero. 35. Uchiha Kyosuke. Konoha hero. 95. As for why Kyosuke shot and stopped One-Tail Morizuru, not Tsunade. Almost everyone ignores this issue. Konoha shinobi only know that the crisis of One-Tail Shizuru's attack on Konoha base camp was solved by Kyosuke. Just when Konoha shinobi at Konoha base camp resolved the crisis for Kyosuke by beating up One-Tail Morizuru, and there was a lot of excitement. Among them, the former Konoha female medical ninja, she was also very excited at this time. So, she couldn't help turning her head to look at the girl beside her who was also a medical ninja and said, Rin, I didn't expect that it was Uchiha Kyosuke who defeated One-Tail Shikaku. This is unbelievable. Uchiha Kyosuke, he's really amazing, Rin. After finishing speaking, the eyes of the female medical ninja were shining with stars. At this time, Lin's little face was also full of excitement. In fact, when Kyosuke attacked the One-Tail Shikaku, Rin already recognized the vague figure in the distance. That person is exactly Kyosuke. At that time, Lin was directly shocked. Not long ago, when Kyosuke approached her, Rin thought that Kyosuke was simply looking for Tsunade-sama and reporting some information to Tsunade-sama. Or, think that Kyosuke helped Tsunade-sama stop One-Tail Morizuru in the past. But what did she see just now? Kyosuke first knocked the One-Tail Shikaku into the air, and then knocked it down to the ground. What's more, Kyosuke shot out countless flames and shot at the One-Tail Shoha, directly beating the one-tail Shoha far away. These unbelievably shocking scenes completely refreshed Lin's understanding of Kyosuke once again. At this moment, Lin only knew that Kyosuke's power was far beyond her imagination. However, the most shocking one is Tsunade, who was the closest to the battlefield. Time, playback slightly forward. Previously, when Kyosuke opened the 6th gate of 8 inner gates, he bled all over his body, causing Tsunade, who suffered from hyperphobia, to panic and lose his mind. Later, it was Kyosuke who took advantage of Tsunade, and Tsunade didn't realize it. It wasn't until Kyosuke and One-Tail Shikaku moved their hands that Tsunade slowly came back to his senses. At that time, Tsunade, who was slowly coming back to his senses, only felt that her lips were a little numb, feeling a little puzzled about this. And there was a loud bang, which was caused by Kyosuke knocking the One-Tail Shikaku down to the ground with a punch, which directly alerted Tsunade. This loud noise completely awakened Tsunade, who was still a little absent-minded. What the hell is going on here? What's going on? Then, Tsunade, she looked around and realized that this was not where she was before. It seemed that someone brought her here when she was absent. As for who that person was, Tsunade didn't have to think much to know. Who else but Uchiha Kyosuke? Then, Tsunade shouted loudly, "Uchiha Kyosuke? Where did you kid go? You dare to use that forbidden technique? You're dying?" 99. Come out to the old lady. Tsunade remembers that it was Kyosuke who had been bleeding all over her body, which triggered her fear of blood. And Kyosuke, the guy who was not afraid of death, actually wanted to open the forbidden technique of 8 inner gates to deal with the one-tail show crane. For flowers at that time, when Kyosuke started the forbidden technique, he was bleeding all over his body, and his state was extremely miserable. Thinking of how Kyosuke was bleeding out at that time, Tsunade, who suffers from hyperphobia, subconsciously shivered. But now, Tsunade is worried about Kyosuke's state. Tsunade wants to know if Kyosuke is dead or alive. If something really happened to Kyosuke, this is the last thing Tsunade wants to see. That sound was probably caused by that kid Kyosuke. Thinking of this, Tsunade, who was worried about Kyosuke's safety, stood up and quickly came to the top of a towering giant tree. At first glance, Tsunade was a little stunned. What appeared in front of Tsunade's eyes was a huge crater, and inside the crater, the one lying down is the One-Tail Shoha. One-Tail Shoha was beaten like this? Tsunade was a little shocked when he saw it. Who is it that can make One-Tail Shikaku like this? Is Uchiha Kyosuke? However, Tsunade looked around and saw no sign of Kyosuke. Seeing this, Tsunade's heart sank. Shouldn't Kyosuke be? Something really happened. However, next Tsunade knew where Kyosuke was. Ah, it hurts. Tsunade saw that the One-Tail Shikaku, who was screaming in pain, climbed up from the crater, and then opened his mouth and shot a super large wind-style practice empty bomb directly above the sky. Hit the air? What is this operation? Seeing One-Tail Shikaku launching a huge wind ball into the air for no reason, Tsunade was puzzled. But when she looked up, Tsunade froze. Tsunade, she saw, disappeared to Kyosuke, who was in mid-air. No, Kyosuke is in danger. After seeing this, Tsunade's heart tightened suddenly, and he was very worried about Kyosuke, who was in mid-air. Although, Tsunade doesn't know why Kyosuke appeared in mid-air. However, Tsunade knew that Kyosuke, who was in mid-air, had no way to avoid the super wind-style training bullet that came to One-Tail Morizuru. Anxious Tsunade immediately wanted to go to save Kyosuke, but at this time, it was too late. And just when Tsunade was desperate, Kyosuke got his hands on it. Next, Tsunade widened her beautiful eyes, looking at the scene in front of her in disbelief. Chapter 123. Tsunade saw that Kyosuke, who was in mid-air, directly broke One-Tail Morizuru's super wind-style bomb. Not only that, but the next scene completely stunned Tsunade. I saw that Kyosuke made a move towards the peacock, his fist slamming into the air rapidly. Immediately, countless flames formed, and the power was huge, like a peacock opening its screen in the air. Kyosuke's move is aimed at the peacock, and the One-Tail Shikaku has no power to fight back at all. Watching One-Tail Shizuru being beaten into a barbecue tanuki by Kyosuke, Tsunade's beautiful eyes widened, and his eyes were full of disbelief. One-Tail Shikaku is as simple as that, being suppressed by this kid Kyosuke? Seeing this, Tsunade showed a ghostly appearance. When did the tailed beasts cope so easily? Is One-Tail Shikaku too weak? Do not. It should be that Kyosuke opened the 8 inner gates forbidden technique, so he was able to deal with the One-Tail Shikaku so easily. Forbidden Technique 453 is called Forbidden Technique because it is a 2-injury spell with serious self-injury. This can be bodily injury or lifespan injury. Thinking of this, Tsunade's deep worry rose again. You stinky boy, don't worry about it. Immediately after that, Tsunade rushed in the direction of One-Tail Morizuru. Boom. 39 boom. Boom. 35 The incomparably huge body of One-Tail Shikaku was directly blown away by Kyosuke's peacock. The direction that the blow flew out was the direction of the main battlefield of the battle between Konoha and Sand Shinobi. Minato Squad, Uchiha Obito, and Kakashi there. Today, Namake's Minato is keeping Luosha under control, and Lin is also helping in the medical class. On the battlefield, Obito and Kakashi help each other to kill the enemy. Because of the battlefield they are in, it is the edge of the main battlefield. At this time, Kakashi and Obito fought hard against Sand Shinobi, but they were able to handle it. Puff. At this time, Obito was opening his twin Tomo blood wheel eyes and stabbed the kunwar in his hand into the heart of a Sand Shinobi. Obito stared at the Sand Shinobi in front of him, his eyes full of icy ruthlessness. Pfft. 99 The body of Sand Shinobi fell directly to the ground. Call. After finally finishing the Sand Shinobi, Obito couldn't help gasping for breath. Is this the first Sand Shinobi he's killed? The third? Or the fourth? Obito can't remember clearly. After coming to this battlefield, Obito has personally experienced what war is, really experienced the cruelty of war. Here, either you die or I die. If you don't pay attention a little, you will immediately become the soul of the enemy's sword. Looking back on the missions he did with his teammates in the village, and comparing the two, Obito thinks how happy he was at that time. Just when Obito was thinking like this, suddenly, the ground shook. A deafening voice suddenly came to him. What happened to this? Earthquake? Or is there strong support from Sand Shinobi? Just when Obito was surprised, Kakashi next to him looked ahead. His face changed involuntarily, and he immediately directed at Obito Avenue. No, Obito, there is danger, go. After speaking to Obito, Kakashi immediately left quickly. Although Kakashi didn't say what the danger was, Obito and Kakashi had been on the mission for a long time and had a tacit understanding. So, seeing this, Obito stopped fighting and quickly followed Kakashi and ran. And the surrounding Sand Shinobi and Konoha Shinobi, seeing this scene, also can't care about fighting to the death. They are busy running away. Boom. Boom. One-Tail Shoha's incomparably huge body destroyed everything wherever it hit. After One-Tail Shikaku's body stopped, everyone present could see exactly what this thing suddenly broke into the battlefield. Obito and Kakashi dodged to the side, and when they saw what was in front of them, they all opened their mouths and looked terrified. No, isn't it? Obito looked up at the monster that appeared in front of him. The huge body was like a giant mountain. Tail Beast, this is just a legendary thing. How did he see Obito? Strange monster. How to fight this? Looking up at the One-Tail Shikaku, Obito swallowed and said with a dry throat. Tail Beast. Kakashi next to Obito was also stunned by the huge body of One-Tail Morizuru. However, Kakashi has a lot of knowledge, and he recognizes that the monster in front of him is the legendary Tailed Beast. Tailed Beast? Hearing Kakashi's words, Obito's face changed dramatically, and he looked even more pale. Tailed Beast? Obito has heard of this thing. It is a monster that only Hokage can deal with. And here in Konoha, can there be someone who can deal with the Tailed Beast? Thinking of this, Obito felt extremely desperate. Likewise, Kakashi has a worried look on his face. The existence of tailed beasts at this level is completely beyond what Chunin Jonin can deal with. Kakashi, what should I do now? Looking down at the behemoth in front of him, Obito asked with a dry mouth. Kakashi. After being silent for a while, Kakashi said silently, One-Tail is not something we can handle. Leave it to Orochimaru-sama and Tsunade-sama 9 now. All we can do is to avoid this tailed beast as far as we can. 9 hideaway? Isn't that just running away? Run away? Hearing Kakashi say this, Obito immediately became excited, turned his head and asked Kakashi loudly, Kakashi, do you know that we are on the battlefield? Running away from the battlefield? This is a shame. Obito is still as hot as ever. In Obito's view, although the enemy is strong, since they are on the battlefield, they should not be deserters. Running away is extremely shameful on the battlefield. If not, facing Obito's questioning, Kakashi was unmoved and asked directly, That's a tailed beast. Obito, don't you know how terrifying a tailed beast is? 35. What else can we do but avoid it? Are we going to die? Going up to die, that kind of sacrifice is completely meaningless. Kakashi asked Obito repeatedly, and for a while, Obito was speechless. Obito knew, and Kakashi was right, that tailed beasts were not something they could handle. Now in this situation, what he 5.1s have to do is to dodge far away and minimize unnecessary sacrifices. The obsession, pride, and stubbornness in his heart made Obito unable to accept this situation for a while. In the final analysis, I am still too weak. It was because she was too weak that Rin fell into the arms of Uchiha Kyosuke. It's because he is too weak. During the last mission, he could only watch Rin fall into crisis and let the hero Uchiha Kyosuke save Mei. Right now, it is precisely because I am too weak that I have to choose to flee in embarrassment. Weakness is the original sin. As soon as he thought of this, Obito suddenly had an incomparable desire for power. At this moment, Obito desperately desires to have great power. You are too weak. Become stronger. You must become stronger. He is stronger than that guy Uchiha Kyosuke. Chapter 124. The movement of One-Tail Shoha here also alerted the main battlefield. The battlefield of Orochimaru and Chiyo's mother-in-law. When mother-in-law Chiyo saw that One-Tail Shikaku appeared here, her face sank. It seemed that there was probably an accident at Funfu. Moreover, mother-in-law Chiyo looked at the appearance of One-Tail Shizuru, and she was afraid that she was beaten here. Konoha can stop One-Tail Morizuru. Besides Orochimaru in front of him, there is only that Princess Katsuyu, Senju Tsunade. Thinking of this, Chiyo's mother-in-law was a little confused. Originally, she thought that Funfu and One-Tail Shizuru could completely compete with Tsunade. No matter how bad it is, Funfu can destroy most of the Konoha base camp with One-Tail Shizuru, causing chaos on the front line of Konoha. But the current situation seems to be much worse than Chiyo's mother-in-law expected. Is Tsunade that strong? It seems that I still underestimate her. Looking at the One-Tail Morizuru, Granny Chiyo thought to herself. As for Orochimaru, when he saw that One-Tail Shikaku was beaten and flew here, Orochimaru was surprised. Tsunade, nice job. Orochimaru subconsciously thought that all this was due to Tsunade's 27th hand. Now in Konoha, only Tsunade can handle One-Tail Morizuru with such strength. Orochimaru was still worried when One-Tail Shikuru appeared behind Konoha base camp. Orochimaru worries that Tsunade, who suffers from hyperphobia, will not be able to stop One-Tail Shikaku. Now, it seems that his worries are superfluous. The terrifying power that can beat One-Tail Shikuru violently can only be achieved by a woman with a strange power like Tsunade. Also shocked were Namikaze Minato and Luo Sha. At this moment, the two of them stopped subconsciously and looked at the direction where One-Tail Shikaku appeared at the same time with a tacit understanding. When Namikaze Minato saw it, he could not help but breathe a sigh of relief. Before, he was worried about the safety of Konoha base camp, but now he is relieved. Fortunately, One-Tail Shizuru seems to have been intercepted by Tsunade-sama. When Luo Sha saw this, his heart sank, and his face changed. The fact that One-Tail Morizuru is here, doesn't that mean Chiyo-sama's plan failed? Luo Sha couldn't help clenching his teeth. Funfu, what the hell are you doing? Just when these people were thinking about it in their hearts, the next scene directly stunned many of Chiyo and Orochimaru. I saw that there was one more figure around the One-Tail Shoha. At the top of a huge tree not far from the One-Tail Shoha, a figure shrouded in blue steam appeared in front of everyone. Although the man's whole body was shrouded in blue steam, the figure of the man and the silhouette of the man made them feel vaguely familiar. The closest Kakashi and Obito were the first to recognize who the person was not far away. Uchiha Kyosuke? Looking at Kyosuke, who suddenly appeared at the top of the tree, Obito looked straight at Kyosuke and said, although Obito didn't know why Kyosuke was enveloped in blue vapor at this time. However, Obito could still recognize Kyosuke very clearly. As for Kyosuke's rival in love, Obito can be said to be too familiar with him. Seeing the sudden appearance of Kyosuke, who was covered in blue steam, Obito suddenly had an absurd conjecture in his heart. One-Tail Morizuru Kazuo was beaten here by Uchiha Kyosuke just now? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. As soon as this conjecture came up, Obito immediately subconsciously rejected it. Although, Obito admits that Kyosuke is very strong, very powerful. However, Obito doesn't think Kyosuke's strength has reached the point where he can compete with One-Tail Morizuru. That is the legendary tailed beast. Only a character like Hokage can suppress it. Is that what Uchiha Kyosuke can handle? So, it's impossible. Absolutely impossible. However, The shock in Obito's eyes was revealed subconsciously. Similarly, Kakashi next to Obito stared blankly at Kyosuke, who suddenly appeared. Uchiha Kyosuke, how did he come? Blue steam. What's the situation? Is it? As if thinking of something, Casey couldn't help but be shocked. Could this tailed beast be Kyosuke? Kyosuke there. Although, Kyosuke beat the one-tailed Shikaku far with the peacock. But in Kyosuke's current state, he could teleport to it in just a breath or two. At this moment, Kyosuke suddenly felt a sharp pain from all over his body. Humph. 99. The pain caused Kyosuke to snort. Just using the move of the peacock, is the body already a little unbearable? Kyosuke frowned and thought to himself, can't delay any longer. Kyosuke has only 20 seconds, and it's almost halfway through now. If the one-tail Morizuru can't be dealt with next, all of Kyosuke's efforts will be in vain. There's no time. I can only use that trick to deal with this beast. Looking at the one-tail Shikaku not far away, Kyosuke frowned and thought secretly. And one-tail Shikaku, who was beaten and flew far away by Kyosuke, finally stood up again. Ah, it hurts. It hurts. 39. Hateful. Damn boy. Kill you. I must kill you. For 53. One-tail Shikuru, who stood up again, looked insane and kept shouting. One-tail Morizuru was able to stand up, and Kyosuke was not surprised at all. He didn't think that the peacock move just now could kill the one-tail Shoha. However, when Kyosuke saw the appearance of one-tail Morizuru, who was not injured much, he was very surprised. One-tail Shoha was hit with such a powerful attack as the peacock, and now it can still be so alive and kicking. Sure enough, a tailed beast is a tailed beast, and its fighting ability is really outrageous. Seeing such a situation, this also strengthened Kyosuke's determination to use that move. Shoha, calm down. 33. Seeing one-tail Shoha was a little frantic and excited, and Funfu and the tailed beast hurriedly discouraged Shoha. Now the situation is very unfavorable for us. At this time, we need to calm down even more. Shoha. Blind impulse, this will not solve the problem. 55. Finfuku persuaded Shoha to calm down and not be impulsive. However, how could one-tail Shikaku, who had already been beaten by Kyosuke at this time, listen to the words of blessing? Although, the words of sharing the blessings make sense. Finfu, needless to say, I want to kill that guy right now. After one-tail Shoha finished speaking, those huge yellow eyes stared at Kyosuke, who was standing at the top of the towering giant tree not far away. Chapter 125. At this moment, Kyosuke is looking at one-tail Shikaku lightly. His eyes are very calm. That appearance, as if the gods were quietly examining the ants. Mere humans, how dare they despise me like this? Hateful. Kyosuke's extremely flat, disdainful eyes made one-tail Shikaku even more furious when he saw it. Go to hell. One-tail Shoha roared furiously in his heart, and a fierce light suddenly flourished in those huge eyes. That is, Kakashi and Obito not far from here. When Kakashi saw the appearance of one-tail Morizuru's attack, his face changed greatly. I saw that one-tail Shoha opened its mouth like a barrel that fired a cannonball. Immediately afterwards, in front of its big mouth, there were countless purple-black balls condensed. After a while, a huge black-purple sphere appeared in front of one-tail's mouth. Tailed Beast Bomb. Tailed Beast Bomb is composed of Tailed Beast's Yang attribute blue chakra and Yin attribute purple-black chakra. Moreover, the ratio of Yin and Yang is 2:8, which is mixed and compressed in the mouth of the tailed beast to form a sphere with super high density. Although, Kakashi didn't know that the huge black-purple sphere beside one-tail's mouth was the mighty Tailed Beast Bomb. However, Kakashi could clearly feel that the huge black-purple sphere contained a terrifying power that could destroy the world. Gotta get out of here as soon as possible, otherwise, both of them will be doomed. So, Kakashi yelled at Obito, who was beside him, Obito, go. Get out of here. After finishing speaking, Kakashi quickly moved away from one-tail Morizuru. In the face of absolute power, Kakashi and the others could only escape far away. Hearing Kakashi shouting loudly, Obito looked at Kyosuke at the top of the towering tree not far away. At this moment, Obito's eyes turned to Kyosuke, and his face was full of complicated colors. Obito admits that Kyosuke is very, very strong. But Obito didn't expect that Uchiha Kyosuke's strength has reached the point where he can compete with the legendary monster of the Tail Beast. And what about himself? In the face of this situation, it is only possible to run away and avoid in such an embarrassing manner. A suffocation, a jealousy, A heart of anger called unwillingness grows wildly in Obito's heart. Asterisk. Strength. Strong power is needed. You are so weak. Obito's thirst for power has once again reached a crazy level. How can it be repaired? Obito looked towards Kyosuke, clenched his fists tightly, and muttered bitterly. Although Obito also wanted to stay, and faced one-tail Morizuru directly like Kyosuke. However, it is the legendary tailed beast that you are facing. Obito knew that, as Kakashi said, if he stayed here, he would die for nothing. Kakashi, who was at a distance away, suddenly realized that Obito was not following. Kakashi suddenly stopped and turned to look, but saw that Obito was still standing there in a daze, staring blankly ahead. This makes Kakashi so angry. So, Kakashi couldn't help shouting loudly at Obito. Obito, why are you still in a daze? Go quickly, or it will be too late. This angry shout from Kakashi woke Obito. So, Obito glanced at Kyosuke, who was facing one-tail Morizuru with a very complicated expression, and his whole body was enveloped in blue steam. Immediately, Obito gritted his teeth, turned his head and ran. Can't be repaired. Shame, what a shame. At this moment, Obito felt an incomparable shame. Uchiha Kyosuke was able to confront one-tail Shukaku head-on, and he only had the chance to escape. At this moment, the black and purple-tailed beast bomb in front of one-tail Shukaku became even bigger and bigger. Huh? Then tailed beast bomb. 35 Kyosuke stared straight ahead with a stern expression on his face. Sure enough, the power of tailed beast bomb is really well-deserved. Kyosuke just looked at the huge black and purple-tailed beast bomb, and he could feel the shocking power contained in it. Wow. Tailed beast bomb. Following the roar of Shoha, the tailed beast bomb, which had been gathering in its mouth for a long time, suddenly emitted an extremely dazzling beam of light, which burst out from its mouth. In an instant, he shot straight at Kim Kyosuke. That shocking beam of light directly attracted all eyes on the battlefield. In fact, the tailed beast bomb of one-tail Shoha, the power that erupted from it is really too huge. That is, Konoha Shinobi and Sand Shinobi, who were fighting to the death before, burst out with the powerful and conspicuous giant beam of one-tail Shukaku. In an instant, they both stopped each other subconsciously and looked there. In their shocked gaze, they saw the huge body of the one-tail Shoha, the boss with his mouth open, a beam of light, and a huge black-purple sphere bursting out of it. At that moment, the world was eclipsed, black and white, and time seemed to stand still. That's tailed beast bomb. It seems that one-tail Shukaku is really moving. Chiyo's mother-in-law, who was fighting with Orochimaru, also stopped at this time. She watched the incomparably eye-catching huge beam of light sprayed out from the mouth of one-tail Shoha, and it was extremely dazzling on the entire battlefield. At the same time, mother-in-law Chiyo had to admire Tsunade. Tsunade, I didn't expect you to be able to force one-tail to wait so much. In her heart, Granny Chiyo couldn't help but said secretly. After all, the ability to force one-tail Morizuru to launch the tailed beast bomb that is enough to destroy a shinobi village shows the strength of Tsunade. However, mother-in-law Chiyo was very relieved about the result. In Chiyo's mother-in-law's opinion, one-tail Morizuru is a weapon of war, and it is undoubtedly slightly better than Tsunade. Tailed beast bomb, you must know that it is the strongest forbearance of Mantissa. In the face of tailed beast bomb, Granny Chiyo can't guarantee that she can dodge. If she is hit, she will die or be disabled. On the other side, Orochimaru, who was facing the mother-in-law Chiyo, was standing on the huge snake head of 10,000 snakes, watching the incomparably conspicuous offensive in the distance. Tailed beast bomb. That is the most profound meaning of the tailed beast, and Orochimaru is naturally clear. Under the super powerful attack of tailed beast bomb, it can be said that there is no possibility of survival. Even Orochimaru, he can't guarantee that he can escape under the most powerful meaning of this tailed beast. Now, where Tsunade is, it must be bad luck. Orochimaru looked in the direction of one-tail Shukaku. His eyes were full of anxiety, and his heart was extremely heavy. Tsunade, you must hold on. If Tsunade is defeated, the battle will go directly to the side of Shine Village. It can be said that whether it can stop, or even kill the one-tail Shoha, is directly related to the victory or defeat of the entire battle. Wow. Tailed beast bomb. When one tail guarded the huge purple-black tailed beast bomb in front of the mouthpiece and shot towards Kyosuke, Kyosuke didn't seem to panic at all. Even, there is not a trace of fluctuation in his eyes. At this moment, Kyosuke was already prepared. Is this the power of the tailed beast? Okay, amazing. Kakashi, who had already avoided Obito far away, stared blankly at the huge purple-black-tailed beast bomb that one tail Morizuru fired from his wide mouth in the distance. At this time, he had already been shocked and lost his mind, and he couldn't help muttering to himself, "This level of power has already completely subverted Kakashi's cognition." However, Kakashi, who was in shock, quickly came to his senses, and at this time, there was a look of worry on his face. You know, the tailed beast bomb of one-tail Shikaku, but it went to Kyosuke. Although Kyosuke is not really a friend to Kakashi. However, Kakashi and Kyosuke were barely acquainted with each other after the mission of the surprise attack on Sand Shinobi. #FL+F equals besides, Uchiha Kyosuke is Kakashi's teammate. Rin's boyfriend is here. No matter what, Kakashi is still quite concerned about Kyosuke's safety, even though he is considered a companion. Uchiha Kyosuke, don't worry. As for Obito next to Kakashi, he had a gloomy face throughout, watching in silence. At this time, no one knew what Obito was thinking. However, next time Obito's expression was a shock, and his face showed a look of horror. Immediately afterwards, Kakashi next to Obito also exclaimed, "Go straight? This. Uchiha Kyosuke, is he crazy? Is he dying?" Whoa, tailed beast bomb. The moment when the huge tailed beast bomb carrying a huge beam of light burst towards Kyosuke with the roar of the one-tail show crane. And at this moment, the tailed beast bomb, whose power is incomparably astounding in the face of people, is terrifyingly attacked. I saw that Kyosuke's body was directly tense. His hands were raised and clenched, forming a seal. His eyes fixed on the front and roared out, "Day Tiger." In the face of the tailed beast bomb that burst into the face, Kyosuke simply performed a concentrated high-speed straight punch. In an instant, a mighty tiger appeared out of thin air. After the tiger raised its head and roared into the sky, it roared towards the tailed beast bomb that had shot. Over.
Thanks for watching. You can find the next videos in the playlist linked in the info card, directly on my channel, or right here on the screen. And as always, if you have any feedback, feel free to share it in the comments too.